Chapter 2048, Crushing Them. Chapter 2048, Crushing Them. They did not believe in Long Fei. I don't believe it. He was even more unwilling to say that his fate was in the hands of someone he didn't believe in, to them. The tactics that Long Fei had set up, just fighting on the road alone, was not enough for them, as it would definitely create a situation of their own. Once the road crumbled, everything will crumble, because no one could support them. Once the backup is on the road, the line will lose its advantage. In this way, losing was only a matter of time. As the numerous military generals closed in, the dark and evil energy around their bodies began to rumble. Li Yuanba's neck moved, his joints making a cracking sound. His right hand grabbed out, causing the giant spirit axe to fall as he muttered, "Looks like I have to do something on the altar first." The sky spirit had lowered his hands, releasing the dark power of the Dost, and laughed excitedly. "I like fighting." Both of them were militants. If there was a fight, he wouldn't mind not eating. Long Fei stood in his original spot while facing the light smile. He did not move, nor did he say anything. To be honest, if it wasn't for Han Ba kneeling down, he really wouldn't have helped the evil god because, not interested. Even if this was the battlefield of the Hero Alliance, Long Fei wouldn't be interested. It was better to fight for oneself than for others. As long as he could find the ancient entry, he would also be able to enter here. At that time, he would be fighting for himself. Thus, at this time, as long as the evil god wavered, he would unhesitatingly choose to leave. The space between the evil god's eyebrows was tightly locked. He was also very suspicious of Long Fei's tactics. If 5 people were to fight and 4 were to go online, then what would the other person do? Command? There was no need at all. Scared to death everywhere. What use is it? This battle was especially important to the Darkness Alliance. If they were to lose this battle, they would really be forced out of Battleground, and at that time, he would no longer have any hope. "Lord, I believe they might as well let us try again." "Just them? I look down on you." "What are they?" "Someone who doesn't even know what a battleground is. What use can they have?" "Lord, think twice." Many of the military officers continued to speak. Long Fei smiled and said, "Evil God, you don't need to hesitate. You can just let them go. I have no objections, and I can leave." Since he knew what kind of situation the battleground was in, knowing this was enough. "Did you see that? Lord, he's afraid." Such a person would only be throwing his life away if he went up, making our Dark Legion lose face. "Kid, you really don't have the qualifications to go up." Li Yuanba shouted. "Who the F***K do you think you are? If you dare to say that my boss isn't even the slightest bit, do you believe that I will kill you?" The Sky Spirit was also preparing to take action. The military generals were not to be trifled with. They quickly took another step forward. The smell of gunpowder was overwhelming. It was ready to explode at any moment. Long Fei thought for a while. "We can't kill our teammates in the Hero Alliance. I wonder if this battleground can kill our teammates." Obviously, Long Fei was also unhappy. The evil god's voice sank as he shouted loudly, "Do you still have an evil god like me in your eyes?" The sound was deafening. All of the generals were stunned as they kneeled on the ground in unison. The evil god looked at Long Fei and said, "How confident are you in winning?" Long Fei laughed. "I'm not confident." Even if he was 100% sure, Long Fei would say that. This father isn't even F***king confident. Ming Wu sneered, and just as he was about to speak, Long Fei laughed. "But you are more confident than the group of trash around you. You're courting death. Brat, you're too arrogant. Too arrogant. We are trash. What the F***ck do you think you are?" Many of the generals had gone through hundreds of battles, and they all had their own pride. Being called a trash by Long Fei, The arrogance in their hearts was as if they had been trampled on by an insult. In an instant, they erupted with fury as several tens of pairs of eyes stared fixedly at Long Fei. Long Fei acted as if he did not see that, with a face full of contempt. He said, "If they aren't trash, why would they lose? Only trash will keep losing." Only then would he not know how to change, and why he was forced in such a miserable state. Long Fei said in an overbearing tone, not giving them the slightest bit of face, "Don't even think about it." The evil god's expression was also somewhat ugly. What was the difference between calling his subordinates trash and calling him trash? All of the officers could not refute what Long Fei had said, because they had indeed been losing the entire time. Ming Wu sneered and said, "You are someone who had just entered the battleground. What qualifications do you have to mock us? What's the use of your tactics? Trash that you don't know anything. What qualifications do you have to talk to us? You're right. You're right. What right do you have to criticize us?" Long Fei's gaze was dark, and he laughed coldly. "Because I can win." Word for word. The altar suddenly quieted down as everyone looked at Long Fei. The evil god's gaze also tightened as he looked at Long Fei and asked, "You can win?" "Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." Many of the military officers started laughing at him. The evil god shouted, "All of you quiet down." Long Fei said, "I can win, but I have a condition." Evil god said, "Speak." Long Fei stared at Ming Wu and said, "I want to—" Ming Wu's eyes darkened. Long Fei laughed coldly. "I want Han Ba." Ming Wu's eyes moved again. Long Fei laughed coldly. "You think I would want your head? You don't even qualify to die at my hands, do you?" Han Ba trembled slightly. The evil god said, "What do you want him to do?" Long Fei said, "I want him to leave this place with me. If you agree, I will win this round. If not—" Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the evil god immediately said, "All right, as long as you can win this match, I will let him leave with you guys." "All right." "Believe you?" Long Fei said, "Then let your men leave." Evil god said, "Do we start now?" "Yes." The evil god smiled and said, "All right." The crowd dispersed. Only Long Fei and the other three remained on the altar. Han Ba wanted to say something, but decided to hold back in the end because he too doubted Long Fei's tactics. This was not a game, but a real world. If he died, he would die. He wouldn't be resurrected in the spring. This was a very crucial point. If one person died, then the crash was only a matter of time. Long Fei looked at them and said, "Believe in me." Li Yuanba worshipped Long Fei blindly and believed him. "Boss, I believe in you, so you can rest assured that there won't be any problems on the road." The man said, "I believe it too." Ziyu said, "I believe you," even though Han Ba didn't really believe it in his heart at this time. In order to gain courage, he also heavily said, "I do." "Then let's start." Long Fei shouted excitedly. And then the system sounded out. The enemy troops still have 30 seconds to reach the battlefield. Crush them. Chapter 2049, Fighting the Field. Chapter 2049, Fighting the Field. A familiar voice, a familiar scene, a familiar feeling. This was not the real world. This was a completely different feeling from controlling a hero in front of a computer. This feeling was even more blood-boiling. Every battle was a battle of life and death. Death meant disappearance. There was no revival here. There was no chance for another one. People died, and the place crumbled. Thus, surviving in this battleground was the most important thing. The system sound that made Long Fei's blood boil quickly sounded out. Long Fei quickly got everyone to choose their outdoors at the Akari store and entered the forest by himself. "You guys stay online and develop. Just wait for my command." Long Fei warned again and again. Top, middle, and bottom 3 routes. What does he want? He actually died in the Forest of Death. All of them are powerful demon beasts. With his current cultivation, he is not a match for them. Master, could they be sent by the main temple? Could it be that killing the destiny god, the sky god, the shadow of main god, all of this is just a trap? Was it to deal with us? This kid is too abnormal. He doesn't have this kind of strategy. Does he actually want to die in the Forest of Death? Could it really be the people sent by the main temple? Long Fei's actions could not help but cause suspicion. No one would enter the forest like him. There were powerful demon beasts in the forest. Killing them would give 1 special contribution points, but this action was as though he was courting death. At this moment, he couldn't help but become worried. If killing Destiny God, Sky God, and Shadow of Main God were all for the sake of acting, then this act is too profound. Of course, if one Destiny God died, the Sky God would exchange for all of his territory and control everything in the battleground, allowing the main temple to enjoy an eternal existence. The deaths of 2 gods were worth it. However, right now, Long Fei and the others were already in the battlefield and could no longer recall them. The evil god did not speak, but stared fixedly at every single movement on the battlefield, his heart becoming nervous. The life and death of Evil God Palace was at stake here. Whether he was dead or alive, everything was in Long Fei's hands. Ding! The system sounded out yet again. Everyone attack! In the black crystal base, 3 teams of small soldiers appeared. These small soldiers were not the brainless soldiers of the game. They were a living person. However, they received the evil god's control and were unable to get rid of it. They could only charge forward towards the battlefield. Moreover, these small soldiers were very crucial in the early stages of the training. Ha ha ha! The trash of the Evil God Palace. This is your last battle. Get ready to leave the battleground. Ha ha! A burst of mocking laughter came from afar. Consecutive victories made the main temple's generals exceptionally arrogant and did not put the Evil God Palace's people in their eyes at all. Bilateral soldiers arrived on the battlefield. In the Forest of Death, in a patch of grass, Long Fei muttered, "This should be the place with the red buff, right? If this place is the same as the world of the Hero Alliance, then the time at which the wild monsters respawn is the same as well. Red buff is crucial. Continuous damage, deceleration." Buzz. A huge lizard climbed up from the ground. It was more than 10 meters tall, and its entire body was colorful. Long Fei raised his eyes and was immediately shocked. Damn, can you not be so powerful? In the game, Red Buff was only a monster that was around the same size as a hero. However, the huge lizard in front of him caused Long Fei to be a little dazed. This is way too damn big, right? Shwa. Long Fei summoned the Yama edge in his hand. With a move of his feet, he slashed down with his blade. Shwa. 190. A bright red number appeared on the head of the gigantic lizard, and at the same time, its health bar rose to 5,000 points. Long Fei scolded angrily and said, "Damn! Kill!" The light faction had 212 players on the other side of the line, so no one was playing. No one would fight. This was because all the monsters in the Forest of Death were of abnormal rank, and no one would foolishly go inside to fight Demon Beast. It was no different from courting death. There's only one Baldy on the road. They don't have many people. I've never seen any of these people before. Are they new players? Seems like Evil God Palace has given up. In the last battle, he still dares to use these hot-headed young men who have never appeared before. Courting death. Ha ha ha. Brothers, crush them. Let's break the record and take down the enemy base in 18 minutes. On the way, completely crush him. Below the sacrificial altar, the main temple gods could not help but laugh out loud. The dark faction lost. Ha ha ha! Sky god has fallen, shadow of main god has been killed, and we have taken over battleground. Even if the Lord God were to return, there would be no offense, and there will be rewards. What do you think the evil god is doing? At this critical juncture, you actually sent out a few rookies that you have never seen before? Isn't this accelerating death? In the final battle, he definitely gave up. With us here, they are no match for us. They were cheering, unable to stop the excitement from appearing between their eyebrows. No matter how strong you are or how big of a power you are, as long as the battleground is in their control, then even if you have the ability to transcend the heavens, you will still not be able to change this world's rules and laws. Only the battleground could change everything. That year, it was here that they could change the world and grasp the power of the laws. No one knew this place better than they did. The reason the main temple's gods entered the battleground was to gain absolute control over it. Once the evil god palace was destroyed, they would not allow any other power the chance to enter the battleground again. They would firmly control it. At that time, as for how long Faye had become a powerhouse, it was useless because no matter how strong he was still a part of their laws. Unable to break the bindings, he could only lie there obediently. Thinking of this, many of them couldn't help but laugh. He laughed proudly. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! All three paths are already advantages. Look at them. They can't even hold their own anymore. We will win, for sure. On the road, Li Yuanba followed Long Fei's instructions completely. He resisted the pressure and never took the initiative to attack, waiting for Long Fei's order to kill the little soldier whenever there was a chance. Killing a small soldier would earn him 10 contribution points. Under the situation of the reinforcements, he had a complete victory over the other two. In the middle path, Hanba was suppressing it a little miserably, but as the troops entered the tower, he was unable to hold on much longer. It was about the same down the road. This was because Ziyu's choice of cultivation technique was auxiliary, while her opponent had 2 DPS-type skills. Both of them had been suppressed to a miserable state. All 3 paths are at a disadvantage. Rumble! When the giant lizard's health point reached the bottom, and its huge body collapsed, Long Fei exhaled. Could it be the same? The system sounded out. Ding! Chapter 2050, Dispersion, Godlike Existence. Chapter 2050, Dispersion, Godlike Existence. Could it be the same buff attribute? This was the only problem that Long Fei was worried about. It was also the most important thing. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Giant Lizard for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy power value points, and 1 metamorphic energy value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 gold coins. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Red Buff's power. Do you wish to release it? The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up as he laughed. It's the same thing indeed. The only difference was experience. 1,000,000 experience points. This was game experience, and also the experience of Long Fei's leveling up. It was also at this time. The second skill was activated. Ha ha! Long Fei laughed excitedly and said, Tianling, get ready. Understood. Z, you also secretly nodded. Understood. There are still 4 people. The 5th person hasn't appeared yet. Seems like he really gave up. I think they already escaped the battleground, leaving behind 4 scapegoats. Ha ha! Let's push forward. Since we can't kill them, let's push forward their pagoda. This is a tower-pushing game. The 5 online were extremely proud. The expressions of all the generals in Evil God Palace were ice-cold. Their faces were ashen, and each and every one of them were abnormally hateful. Some of them even started to curse angrily. They are definitely spies. They are the people sent by the main temple. Lord, we've been tricked. Master, we still have time. Let's retreat out of battleground. We have no way to turn back. If they didn't leave, death would await them. The evil god's heart had sunk even deeper as he tightly clenched his fists. No one knew just how angry he was right now. No one knew if his anger could melt Deep Abyss Mountain or not. Creak, creak, creak. The aura around his body was constantly cracking, and the space around him was slowly cracking and distorting. He shouted in a deep voice, Long Fei, if you dare to mess with me, I will make it so that you will never reincarnate. Anger, infuriated to the extreme. It could not be described with words. This battle was about life and death. Regarding his millions of years of hard work, he trusted Long Fei too easily, so he shouldn't have trusted him. After Long Fei entered the forest of death, he did not come out again. In this kind of situation, he was either crushed by the demon beast in the forest, or he was standing on the side with joy. The generals of the light faction were closing in and were beginning to push the tower forward. If that was the case, the evil god palace was definitely going to lose. Anger and hatred filled the heart of the evil god. On the other hand, the people of Main Temple were celebrating. Chapter 2051. Good stuff. Bring it here. Chapter 2051. Good stuff. Bring it here, killing primary school students. It was a total slaughter, and all of them were stupefied. He didn't even know how he died. A red buff begins, fighting all the way down to the road. False 5 killing strikes. What kind of existence was this? Deity, the people of both Evil God Palace and Main Temple did not react as their minds were completely blank. Seeing the martial generals fall to Long Fei one by one, the gods behind the Main Temple's sacrificial altar no longer had the heart to curse at them. How could this be? Why? Was there such a method of fighting? Are you King seeing a ghost? The 3rd Wei was killed, so it was impossible for him to revive. There was no longer any suspense. The 5 of them collectively pushed forward, singing along the way, and 10 minutes later, the Main Temple's base crumbled. 15 minutes to the base. To the record. Everyone was dumbfounded. The system also sounded out a notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for his victory. The reward is 3,000 gold coins. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up as he became excited. At the same time, buzz. The space above the battleground suddenly shook, and a violent explosion resounded. The battlefield immediately disappeared and was replaced by a vast and boundless continent. The evil god trembled slightly and shouted, "Forward!" The evil god army attacked quickly. The Main Temple warriors quickly retreated to the other side of the Red River, as if they could not resist at all. They did not resist at all and immediately retreated to the other side of the Red River. Red River. It was a huge river of blood. This was a natural barrier. As long as they could defend the Red River, the main temple would have no other choice. Unless there was another record of victory. On the altar, Long Fei's group of 5 stood there. Long Fei continued to browse through Akali's shop and did not buy anything else. He spent all the gold he earned from the Hero Alliance to buy the Angry Stones. His gold coins were equivalent to other people's contribution points. This kind of thing was regarded as a great treasure in the battleground. As long as a certain amount was obtained, it could be exchanged for all sorts of heaven-defying things, but Long Fei did not need it. What he wanted was anger mixture. He didn't need any of those equipment, no matter what Infinity Sword S, no matter how dilapidated they were, or how much they drank. What he wanted was a medicine that could make people bigger and thicker. Ha ha ha! The evil god laughed heartily as he walked up from behind the sacrificial altar. He looked at Long Fei as if he were looking at a flawless treasure, and said, "Long Fei, you really did not disappoint me." Long Fei smiled faintly and did not speak. The evil god said indifferently, "I know that you want to find the ancient entry to open the third entrance and enter the battleground. Long Fei, the ancient entry is not that easy to open, and the powers of the main temple do not allow you to do so." Long Fei said, "This is my problem. I won't trouble you to take care of it." Careful! The evil god also sensed the killing intent in Long Fei's body and said, if you're unable to connect to the ancient entry, do you want to overthrow the main temple together with me?" The evil god looked at Long Fei seriously. Long Fei did not reply immediately. Instead, he pretended to be deep in thought and paused for a moment, then said, "Destiny God provoked me. He died. Sky God provoked me. He also died. If I really am unable to open the ancient passage, I will join hands with you to overthrow the main temple and pull the god down." "All right." The evil god gave a heavy laugh and said, "Long Fei, that's exactly what I want to hear." The killing intent in his heart immediately vanished. Then, the evil god moved his hands, forming a seal. He immediately activated the gigantic void door and said, "You can leave this place and return to the Deep Abyss Mountain. Long Fei, Deep Abyss Mountain is extremely dangerous. You must be careful. In addition, what happened before was my fault. This is what I meant." The evil god took out a strange box from his chest pocket and said, "This was obtained from my foreign domain. I don't know what is inside, but you directly told me that it should be good stuff. You are very special. I believe you can open it." Long Fei did not accept it. He did not believe in the evil god. However, at this moment, the Sleeping Beauty suddenly opened her eyes and said, "Good stuff, bring it over." Chapter 2052, Third Gobbledygook. Chapter 2052, Third Gobbledygook. The Sleeping Beauty had not woken up since Long Fei had entered the ancient god battle. Suddenly, a voice rang out, causing Long Fei to be slightly shocked as he asked, "Sister, why are you awake?" The Sleeping Beauty said straightforwardly, "Don't worry about that for now. This black box is full of good stuff. Hurry up and get it. Urgent." It was as if the thing could fly away. If even she was in such a hurry, then the contents of this black box must not be simple. Immediately, Long Fei pretended to be very calm and joked, "Don't tell me this is a special item to follow me?" Although he said that, Long Fei still extended his hand out to receive it. Evil God said, "Long Fei, don't worry. Even if I wanted to follow you, I wouldn't use such a method." There was no change in his expression, but his palm was oozing with cold sweat. He was truly afraid that Long Fei would not accept it, just like Long Fei had said. Although he had coincidentally obtained this black box from another realm, there was still a trace of his aura on this box. As long as Long Fei kept the box by his side, he could control Long Fei's movements at any time. Long Fei saw through it with a glance. The evil god's heart tightened. He was really afraid that Long Fei wouldn't want it. Seeing Long Fei extend his hand out to receive it, he finally relaxed a little. The power that Long Fei had displayed was too strong. He definitely could not let anyone obtain this kind of person. Long Fei laughed. I was just joking, don't be too serious. All right, then I'll thank Lord Evil God. If there's nothing else, then we'll be leaving first. Finished. Long Fei's eyes moved. Ziyu entered the distorted teleportation gate first. Li Yuanba and the Holy Spirit followed. Hanba hesitated. Long Fei said, Hanba, you are my man now. Why don't you leave with me? Hanba didn't look at the evil god, but looked at Long Fei and then stepped into the portal. He was somewhat confused. Maybe leaving Battleground was a good choice. Long Fei said, Lord Evil God, we will meet again in the future. The evil god waved his hand and said, see you later. Long Fei stepped into the portal, and the portal closed as well. Ming Wu immediately stepped forward. Master, why are we letting him go? A person like Long Fei cannot be obtained by the main temple. If not, the evil god didn't wait for him to finish and immediately said, investigate his movements clearly. I want to know how he did it. As for his whereabouts, the evil god revealed an evil sneer. He won't be able to escape my palm. Long Fei, you are mine. Don't worry, you will definitely not be able to beat Ancient Entry. He was very clear about what kind of existence the Ancient Entry was. Not to mention Godchild Zhan Wushuang guarding the Ancient Entry. Even if Zhan Wushuang did not guarding Long Fei, the Ancient Entry would still be a dead end. He wouldn't be able to get through at all. As long as Long Fei couldn't get through the entrance, he would obediently become his tool. The evil god grinned. Right now, what we need to do is to research Long Fei's tricks. Also, we have one more thing to do. Ming Wu, go and spread the news that Long Fei has entered the battleground. I want to make the hatred between the two of them deepen a little, so that Long Fei has no other choice. Ming Wu trembled and immediately said, as you command. As long as the hatred between the main temple and Long Fei reached a certain depth and Long Fei was unable to defeat the Ancient Entry, then he could only choose to join his Darkness Alliance. With Long Fei's help, he would definitely be able to take down the battleground. Ming Wu said, Master, what if Long Fei managed to open the Ancient Entry? The evil god laughed lightly. Even if he tries to break through the entrance, he won't be able to. The Ancient Entry had a group of untouchable monsters inside the Ancient Beasts. No one could break through the Ancient Beasts. And even if they could, Long Fei would not be able to. Everything was under his control. Buzz. The five of them stood at the foot of the mountain of the Deep Abyss Mountain. From start to finish, they had never stepped into the Deep Abyss Mountain. Li Yuanba was displeased. Damn, so we didn't even go in? The Heavenly Spirit said, this evil god is an illusionary power. It's really strong. I can't detect it at all. I just inexplicably stepped into the illusions. Hanba said, the power of the evil god's illusion is invulnerable. Unless it's a sovereign, no one can break it. Long Fei looked at Hanba and asked, how much do you know about the evil god? Hanba laughed bitterly and said, if I hadn't said that I know you, I would still be an unknown little soldier. Long Fei, I'm truly sorry. He was the one who brought Long Fei into the battleground. He felt guilty. He wanted to change the world. He thought he could change the world, change the rules, but he discovered that he was too weak. The Darkness Alliance that he had chosen could not change this world either. Even if they were to win, this world would still be the same as before, with only a few gods and a few rulers. There would be no changes at all. Long Fei said, you don't need to apologize. I should be thanking you. What are your plans now? Hanba shook his head and said, I don't know. I want to return to divinity and return to my original location. Divinity, a plane above chaos realm. The plane was almost on the same level as the ancient god battle. To be exact, divinity was born even earlier than the primordial divine war. It was only because of the existence of battleground that the primordial divine war became even more famous. The divinity was the center point of the 100,000 planes. The various powerful races within the 100,000 planes all came from the divinity. The Long family that Long Fei belonged to, the dragon race, came from the same place. Long Fei did not stop her. Since you want to return to the starting point, then you can go. Hanba smiled and said, I helped you to clear the path to ancient entry before, so you've helped me before. Now, I should be the one helping you as well. Li Yuanba gave a silly smile and said, Another brother now. Hanba immediately merged with Li Yuanba and Tianling, and the three of them led the way, directly charging into the deep abyss mountain. Zi Yu walked to Long Fei's side and asked curiously, Why are you so familiar with the terrain of the battleground? Have you been inside? Long Fei laughed. In my dreams, do you believe that? Zi Yu looked at Long Fei. The man in front of her was simply like a mystery, and the more she looked, the more she couldn't see through him. Sister, what's inside? It's rare for you to be so excited about something like this. Long Fei muttered to himself. He really rarely saw her so excited. Last time it was the Star Book S of the Holy Buddha. Other than this, Long Fei had never really seen the Sleeping Beauty this excited. Could it be? Is this also the Gobbledygook S book in the black box? Chapter 2053, Descending the Dragon. Chapter 2053, Descending the Dragon, the 10 great Gobbledygook S of the universal world. The heavens, the earth, the stars, humans, beasts, demons, gods, and Buddhas were all extremely special existences. Some had masters, while others were scattered throughout the universe. Every single one of them had tremendous power. In the universal large world, whoever obtained a set of gobbledygook would become the super ruler of a region. Legend, if the 10 gobbledygook combined, they would form an ancient, huge painting. The painting contained a heaven-defying treasure, and the owner could become a grandmaster. The gobbledygook were scattered all over the place. In order to find one not only required luck, but also luck. Long Fei obtained the 2 books through luck. The Sleeping Beauty said excitedly, You got the right answer. Full marks. Hee hee. What a pity. No rewards. Long Fei was shocked, as expected. What kind of gobbledygook is inside? The Sleeping Beauty said, I don't know about that yet. I can only guarantee that there's a Gobbledygook S book inside. However, I am not sure about its attributes. Long Fei said, Just open it and see. Then Long Fei was stunned again and said, Even Powerhouse, like the evil god, was unable to open it. So this black box is definitely not ordinary. The Sleeping Beauty said, Opening it isn't difficult. It just needs something. Long Fei immediately asked, What is it? The Sleeping Beauty said, The dragon's blood possesses incomparable corrosive properties. It can open any mechanical box. Giant dragon blood. In Long Fei's mind, the image of the gigantic dragon from the world of dragon coffin cultivation appeared. The gigantic dragon's blood that the Sleeping Beauty had mentioned should be his. The gobbledygook is an existence that can't be destroyed with any kind of power. As long as you get the dragon's blood, you can open the black box. The reason the evil god can't open the box is because he doesn't know what box it is and what is hidden inside. Obtaining it from the other realms was a chance he could chance upon. It was easy to get. In the eyes of the evil god, it was only a strange box, nothing special. How would he know that it contained one of the 10 great gobbledygook among the universal large world? If he knew, He would have never given it to Long Fei even if he was beaten to death. Long Fei replied, I understand. And then the Sleeping Beauty stretched her waist and said, Master, if the 10 great gobbledygook can be fused together, an ancient giant painting would appear. It contains a peerless treasure, and whoever can obtain it will become the strongest Jizun of the universal world. This is the most tempting part of the 10 great gobbledygook, so you must hide your gobbledygook well and not be discovered. All right. I'm sleepy. Master, I'm going to sleep. After she finished speaking, the Sleeping Beauty laid down softly and fell asleep. Without any prelude, it instantly entered the sleeping mode. Long Fei felt a chill in his heart. Among the 10 great gobbledygook, there is actually such a peerless secret treasure hidden. I seem to see a peerless treasure waiting for me. Long Fei's idea moved. He entered the dragon coffin cultivation mode. A huge dragon! Long Fei shouted. He needed the dragon's blood, and he needed to know what type of gobbledygook was in the box. Roar! With a dragon's roar, Long Fei's eardrums almost burst open. The huge dragon body appeared, and like a giant, it took over the entire sky. 2 eyes that were shining with a gold light stared at Long Fei and said coldly, What are you calling me for? Long Fei revealed a fawning smile and said, Can you give me a drop of your blood? You want my dragon blood? The colossal dragon was stunned. Long Fei said, Yes, a drop will do. The colossal dragon was so huge that a drop of blood was just a hair of 9 oxen to him. He would probably agree. However, just as Long Fei finished speaking, the Titan's eyes narrowed and shouted coldly, No, there was no room for negotiation. F***CK. It's just a drop of blood. Is there a need to be so petty? It's not like I want a basin of blood or your life. Long Fei said in annoyance. The colossal dragon glared at him and said, I am petty, just not good enough. How can I drop it? Bite me. Long Fei. If he could, Long Fei would go up and bite him, at least to get a drop of dragon blood. Looking at the scales on the colossal dragon's body that was even larger than him, it was fine if he just thought about it. Don't break your teeth. The colossal dragon saw that Long Fei had sagged and said, You can have my colossal dragon's blood. The martial arts training's steel armor beast mode had already been broken. However, alchemy, artifact forging, formation, all of these things are in a wasteful mode. Long Fei said, As long as I break through these limits, will you give me the blood of a dragon? The colossal dragon replied, Correct. Long Fei clenched his teeth and said, Fine, you just wait and see. When I go crazy, even I am afraid of myself. To achieve a breakthrough in all of these supporting occupations was not an ordinary feat. Refining the divine pellets, forging the holy artifact, and carving the divine array was not an ordinary feat. Moreover, the divine level cultivation method was completely different from the divine level cultivation method in the ancient world. The higher the grade, the harder it was to refine. However, Long Fei never gave in. Since he said such words, he would do his best. Never admit defeat. The idea moved and left the training space. The colossal dragon mumbled to itself, Long Fei, you have to be fully prepared. I will make you an all-powerful universal large world. This is the only way for you to stand this kind of firmly in the universal large world. Everything he did was not for Long Fei now, but for Long Fei's future. What did a drop of dragon blood count for? Even if Long Fei wanted his dragon head, he didn't care. What he needed was for Long Fei to cultivate even more assiduously. Although Long Fei was already working hard, it was not enough. Everything he controlled now was like trash. This is so infuriating. Long Fei panted heavily and was extremely unhappy. Isn't it just a drop of blood? Ziyu looked at Long Fei's furious expression and asked, What's wrong? Longface shook his head. Nothing. At this moment, the sky spirit suddenly stopped and said, Boss, there's a broken temple up ahead. Longfei raised the center of his brows, his divine sense slightly moved as he said, There is killing intent. Everyone be careful. Longfei put aside the dragon's blood and fully focused on being on guard. Even the evil god said that the Deep Abyss Mountain was extremely dangerous, so it could be seen that this place was truly dangerous. Hanba said, I'll go scout first. Then, Hanba's body sank, directly entering the ground and disappearing. Li Yuanba said, I'll go take a look. Inside the broken temple, Zhan Wushuang's silhouette stared coldly at a monk and said coldly, Hand him over. The monk grinned and said, This thing doesn't belong to you. Humph, Zhan Wushuang scoffed coldly. 8 King Kong, you must be a dragon-subduing fist, right? Go and bring down the ghost. Chapter 2054, Blasting Fist and Law Fusion. Chapter 2054, Blasting Fist and Law Fusion, Amitba. The monk clasped his hands together and spoke softly. Zhan Wushuang's image had already attacked. The strong force directly covered the entire temple. With him as the center, the force crazily rushed towards the descending dragon. The monk was not afraid. A golden light flashed in his eyes as his body suddenly changed. Roar! His body immediately transformed into a golden dragon. Golden! He roared in the air. Zhan Wushuang's eyes turned cold. He wanted to compare himself to the 8 King Kong at that time, but the current 8 King Kong was simply way stronger than him, as if he was a completely different person. Every King Kong could take charge of himself. Their current power was extremely terrifying. If all the 8 King Kong were to gather together, what kind of big move would they form? It was hard to imagine. However, thinking of this, the killing intent in Zhan Wushuang's heart became even stronger. 8 King Kong. If Kong Kim was one less, then they wouldn't be able to assemble such a big move. So, die. Boom. The power of the law of fate turned malevolent. A sword that reaped the harvest of destiny landed in his hands, and with a movement of his body, he created countless illusions, each of which seemed to be solid. Kill. The long sword slashed out. The golden dragon kept dodging, escaping the control of fate, but he was still unable to contend with the power of the law of fate. The 10 million swords came crashing down. A golden light burst forth from the body of the descending dragon. He could not dodge and could only passively defend. Boom, boom, rumble. Waves of powerful law energy crushed down on the body of the golden dragon, causing it to suffer a great deal of pain. Its expression became exceptionally ugly. The golden dragon's body was also struck back to its original state. Bam! He fell from the sky and spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, the descending dragon sat cross-legged as he recited an incantation. The golden light around his body receded, turning into a black glow of the power of hell. When Zhan Wushuang's silhouette landed, it trembled inwardly. The power of law is only slightly injuring him. How hard is this 8 King Kong exactly? Even High God Powerhouse had no way of resisting the power of law. He couldn't stop it at all. But 8 King Kong was completely different. The dragon subduing was only slightly injured. The murderous intent in Zhan Wushuang's heart became even stronger. Seeing the black light emitting from Luo Long's body, his eyes turned sinister. Die! Boom! A full-force slash. A sword slashed down on the head of the descending dragon. The dragon did not move. As the long sword fell, the black energy on his body burst forth with a humming sound. A loud explosion resounded. The black energy rushed forward and formed a black Arhut. It was extremely sinister and directly blocked Zhan Wushuang's sword. Moreover, In that moment, the black Arhut dragon subdued into a black stream of energy and attacked Zhan Wushuang's phantasm. Zhan Wushuang's face changed slightly. He retreated step by step and said, "I never thought that I would still have the ability to retaliate, but 8 King Kong is still a little too inexperienced." His footsteps became heavy. Standing there, Zhan Wushuang quickly formed a seal with his hands, and the power of the defense law suddenly erupted. Under the attack of the dark, descended Dragon Arhut's power, he stood at his original spot without suffering any damage. The heaven-defying defense of the defense law would not be harmed at all. Zhan Wushuang grinned and laughed. "Your strength is too weak. Go and die for me now." At this moment, a loud shout came from the sky. "Motherf asterisk cur, who did you say is too inexperienced?" "I think you're too inexperienced." Boom, boom. When the two figures landed, Li Yuanba, heavenly spirit, Xiaolong immediately laughed out loud. "You're finally here. I missed you guys to death." Zhan Wushuang's face changed greatly as he said solemnly, "Long Fei, come out." Long Fei slowly walked in from the entrance of the rundown temple and said with a smile, "Zhan Wushuang, we meet again. I really miss you." The corner of Zhan Wushuang's mouth drew back, and he laughed sinisterly. "I've missed you too. What do you think? How does it feel to be chased and killed by a woman?" In that instant, Long Fei's eyes turned cold and extremely cold. "It's really you." "Ha ha." Zhan Wushuang laughed out loud and said, "Other than me bringing you together with your woman, who else would be so concerned? Long Fei, don't worry. Your family and your women will all be reunited with you." He controlled the laws of fate, controlled the soul controlling even more, and easily controlled the souls absorbed by the destiny god. F***CK. You're courting death. Without waiting for Long Fei to get angry, Li Yuanba exploded with power. As if the energy in his entire body had transformed, it instantly entered his diamond body, and the giant spirit axe slashed down. Shwa! A powerful force broke through the air. Zhan Wushuang gave a cold laugh and said, "Is it only this kind of power?" Too weak. Without moving from his original spot, the power of the defense law wrapped around him. When Li Yuanba's King Kong power slashed down, the defensive shield above Zhan Wushuang's simulacrum did not budge an inch. Zhan Wushuang sneered. "The defense law that I control is not the trash's defensive power like the sky god. My defensive power is the strongest defensive power in this world. You want to break my defense law? Humph! You overestimate yourself." It was extremely disdainful. This was also a type of confidence, because the law that he controlled was the defense law, and the defense of any of the laws could not be compared with the strength of the defense law. Moreover, one more thing, he still had a defense main artifact. This was even more unshakable. Li Yuanba was extremely unhappy. He moved his body again and struck down with another strike. However, it was the same as before. The defense law on Zhan Wushuang's body did not budge an inch. Abnormal defense. It was quite abnormal. Li Yuanba was even more unhappy. "Damn it, I don't believe it." Long Fei pulled Li Yuanba and said, "Recover. Leave it to me." Long Fei walked forward, looked at the defense law on Zhan Wushuang's body, and smiled slightly. "Do you know what the strongest defense is?" Zhan Wushuang laughed. "Of course it's my god's shield. Do you still need to say this?" Long Fei said, "It's an attack." As soon as he finished, Long Fei disappeared in place, and in that instant, he drank the rage mixture he bought from the battleground, and his power increased. Multiplied enhancement. At the same time, Long Fei frowned. Ultimate boxing. Buzz. Ding. Target locked. His fist sank. Zhan Wushuang looked at Long Fei as both his fists sunk. He immediately thought about what happened at Devil Island. His gaze tensed up as the defense law exploded in a form visible to the naked eye. At the same time, Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Killing principle!" Buzz. The power of the killing principle fused into the blasting fist. Immediately, Long Fei's fists trembled extremely quickly, as if he was unable to endure the fusion of the two powers. It was a completely new experience, one that he had never experienced before. What kind of damage would the blasting fist and ancient code power do? He smashed down at Zhan Wushuang and bellowed, "Break for me!" Chapter 2055. Beauty's nearing. Chapter 2055. Beauty's nearing blasting fist. Whoever was locked in there would die. God, what would happen? Long Fei had never tried it before. The killing principle was the most savage of all the law energies, and was also the strongest amongst the law of attack. What would happen if it fused with the blasting fist? The blasting fist had 100% penetrative power. Killing principle, 100% real damage. Add the anger mixture. What would become of the combination of all three? Long Fei didn't know either, but even if it was just a tiny shadow, he would still not let it go if he wanted to kill Zhan Wushuang in his heart, because Jojo's matter had made him exceptionally angry. Furthermore, the souls of his loved ones were all in Zhan Wushuang's hands, making him even more unhappy. Rumble! 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 The sky above the rundown temple exploded with bursts of power that shot into the sky, causing the entire deep abyss mountain to be shaken awake. The demon beast roared in the distance, and the ground deep in the mountain range rumbled. The sky was also filled with a loud noise. Li Yuanba, Heaven's Spirit, Descending Dragon, Ziyu, and Han Ba, who were outside the broken temple, all had faces full of shock. They had never seen such power before. Too fierce. Kacha, Kacha, Kacha. The defense law shield on Zhan Wushuang's body started to shatter one by one, just like an eggshell being broken. The power of the blasting fist and the power of the killing principle did not disappear just like that. Zhan Wushuang's face darkened. Suddenly, Walala! The defense law shield surrounding him shattered, and the power of the blasting fist and the power of the path of annihilation fused together perfectly as they smashed down. Boom! Zhan Wushuang's silhouette suddenly exploded. In the blink of an eye, he had been reduced to smithereens. The wound on his head also turned into zero. However, this was only one of his phantoms, and it couldn't burst anything. Instant kill. Long Fei. From afar, a furious roar sounded. Zhan Wushuang was enraged to the extreme, and he failed yet again. Chaos Realm lost. Devil Island lost. Now, although it was just a phantom image, it was also the microcosm of a battle. He had lost in the end, even though the illusory image didn't have all of his strength, but the fusion of Long Fei's blasting fist and ancient code power made him extremely unhappy. Zhan Wushuang wasn't confident either. Thus, he still lost. Very, very bad. He lost 3 times in a row. Long Fei was simply like his nightmare. Long Fei said with a grin on his face, "Zhan Wushuang, you little bastard." In his heart, he was equally infuriated. "Get the hell down here." Long Fei was unable to sense Zhan Wushuang's position. Even if he did, it would be useless. The distance was too far. He simply could not catch up. "Ha ha ha." Zhan Wushuang laughed and said, "You want my life? You want to kill me? The women who want to save you, the families? Ha ha ha. Rest assured, I will definitely take good care of them. Ha ha ha." Zhan Wushuang laughed wildly. Boom. Long Fei released the sky principle to its peak. His figure moved millions of kilometers in an instant. He still could not sense Zhan Wushuang's position and shouted angrily, If you dare even touch a single hair of theirs, I will make you die a miserable death. Wow. I'm so scared. Zhan Wushuang laughed. The more nervous Long Fei was, the more excited he became. Zhan Wushuang laughed. Don't worry. Next time. I will never lose. Absolutely not. Long Fei. Just you wait. Buzz. Zhan Wushuang's voice disappeared. The entire Deep Abyss Mountain returned to peace. Long Fei's heart tightened. His fists clenched tightly, his nails digging into the flesh of his palms, causing blood to drip down. Grandfather. Eldest uncle. Luo Shi. Familiar appearances surfaced in his mind. Long Fei was truly a little mad. If he knew where these spirits were imprisoned, Long Fei would definitely go and save them without caring about anything else. But Long Fei didn't know where they were at all. Long Fei wept blood in his heart. I will definitely save you. I swore it with my blood. Zhan Wushuang, if I don't kill you, I swear I won't be a human. Long Fei moved his body and looked behind him. His gaze tightened. The entire Deep Abyss Mountain stretched for tens of millions of kilometers looking around him. The surroundings were exactly the same. I don't know. Long Fei was lost. The idea moved. When he spread out his spiritual sense, he did not sense the auras of Li Yuanba and the others at all. Long Fei's heart tensed up. What kind of shitty place is this Deep Abyss Mountain? Then, Long Fei had no choice but to choose a general direction and fly back. Within the dilapidated temple, Li Yuanba looked at Lu Long and asked, "What are you doing here?" "I've been here ever since I came out of hell," he said. Li Yuanba was waiting for him in the city of martial arts. The heavenly spirit was in the fairy grass valley, and the descending dragon was in the rundown temple in the Deep Abyss Mountain. Everything seemed to have been arranged. And then, Xiaolong seemed to have thought of something and took out a cosmic bag from his waist. He let Luo Li out and asked, "Is this the person you want to capture?" "Z," you said coldly. "Luo Li?" The forehead of the sky spirit twitched as it immediately said, "Hurry up and put him away." Not waiting for him to finish. Luo Li's life will shattered. He instantly died. At this moment, a powerful force directly grabbed onto his body and absorbed two streams of soul force from his body. One was Luo Li's own strength, and the other was the soul of the sky god. Suddenly, completely out of control, on the god's mountain, Zhan Wushuang laughed wildly and said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. Long Fei, so what if you can break my illusion? Sky God's soul is still in my hands." Ha ha ha. There was one less main god fragment, but to be able to obtain the soul of the sky god was already quite good. And then, Zhan Wushuang said, "I want to go into closed-door cultivation, destiny god. I want to obtain all of the power of the soul controlling." Long Fei escaped from the shackles of fate and became uncontrollable. God's shield only had defense. He needed a strong offensive power of the ancient code, and soul controlling was the best choice. A trace of light flashed in black robe destiny god's eyes, and he said, "I will do my best to help you." Sure enough, I got lost. Long Fei searched for a long time, but he couldn't find anything. Maybe he did not look for it. Instead, he leaned against a large tree and rested. That strike just now, this is also the limit of the killing principle and the blasting fist. Still not strong enough. What would happen if I were to fuse the powers of time, sky principle, and killing principle into the blasting fist? Next time, I'll definitely knock you over. Just as Long Fei was deep in thought, a few extremely beautiful women who wore revealing clothes and had sexy bodies, causing others to be unable to stop looking at them. Chapter 2056. Let's eat him. Chapter 2056. Let's eat him. The collision of the power of law caused all the beasts, demons, and other races in Deep Abyss Mountain to be awakened. This is the Deep Abyss Mountain. It was their world, and no one was allowed to invade it, not even the gods. Humans were their enemies, generation enemies. Long Fei leaned in front of the big tree and was thinking about how to merge the 3 types of law energies into the blasting fist. Because he was too engrossed with his thoughts, he entered a state of selflessness. The speed of the sky principle, the power of the killing principle, the time laws. Even though I don't have the ability to control it, the time reset should allow me to restore all of my skills back to their cool-down state. The law of time was something his mother had comprehended. He only knew how to reset the time limit in one move. Although it also contained the time laws, Long Fei was still unable to grasp the time laws. However, Long Fei could return to 3 minutes ago after the time had been reset. This way, the skill shouldn't need a cooldown. 3 sets of strength combined with the blasting fist. What would the move do? Just as Long Fei was becoming more and more immersed in his thoughts, his sea of consciousness suddenly shook, and a delicate fragrance entered into his body. At this moment, for peerless beauties twined around him. They were like fairies that had descended to the mortal world. The dress they wore fluttered, and the ribbons danced around them, causing one to have an illusion. What was even more shocking was that these women were all born with attractive bones and eyes that could captivate a person's soul. Just one look at them was enough to make any man unable to stop. He couldn't control his body at all. Long Fei was no exception. The physiological response was enormous. The more it was like this, the more the delicate fragrance within his body grew. His body became light as it floated in the air, and his consciousness also gradually became blurry. Charm, an irresistible charm. As his eyelids grew heavier and heavier, Long Fei's heart tightened, and his heart trembled slightly. His body sank, and he fainted. Humph! I thought that the one who controls the power of law was that strong, but it turns out he can't resist our charm power either. Hee hee. Big sister, this man is so handsome. Why don't we? The woman licked her tongue and gulped. She seemed to be in a hurry. Long Fei was unconscious. However, his consciousness was very clear. Hearing this, his heart immediately became excited. Come on, go on with me. It's my turn. I won't resist. Any one of these 4 women was a peerless beauty. If they took the initiative, this was simply a form of enjoyment. That's right, big sister. There's no one here anyway. How about we? It was another woman who had evil intentions. Long Fei started to boil again. Come on, come on. Ha! It seems like this handsome bro's charm isn't as great as it seems. If you want to go up to me, just say it. Why do you need to do all this? Another girl said. Elder sister, he's a man that can control the power of the laws. Why not let us eat him? Our cultivation will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Holy **T. Emotions don't come for me, but for you to eat me? Long Fei's mind tightened as he muttered, should I wake up and then forcefully eat them? The delicate fragrance disappeared. The bewitching power in Long Fei's body had also been completely expelled by him. If Long Fei was willing, he could wake up at any time. The reason he pretended to be unconscious was to see what they wanted to do to him. The big sister in the lead said, no, this person is special. We must bring him back to the tribe. This is the clan leader's order. Also, she looked around and said, the goblins, the beastmen, and the other monsters must be searching for him. We can't stay here any longer. Let's hurry back to the tribe. Deep Abyss Mountain was very dangerous. Moreover, the status of the tribe they were from was extremely low, and if they weren't lucky, they wouldn't be able to find Long Fei at all. If they continued to stay, Once they were discovered by the people from the other tribes, the consequences would be dire. All right, big sister, we caught the person. The patriarch will probably give us a bit of flesh. Hee hee. I don't like eating human flesh. I like drinking human blood. Human blood is the best form of nourishment. Where's the human whip? Your brain is pretty good too. The human heart is the best. It was hard to imagine. The four of them were actually talking about how delicious a human's trachea and organs were. They drank blood and ate meat, and they didn't even let their brains go. Was this a cannibal? Long Fei's heart immediately went cold. No wonder this deep abyss mountain is so scary. Just when Long Fei wanted to wake up, the four women immediately lifted Long Fei up, and on his white chest there was the sweet smell of a body adding on to his skin and skin. Long Fei continued to pretend to be unconscious. Search. This is a gift from the heavens. It's been so many years, yet there hasn't been a single human that can control the laws and entered the deep abyss mountain. This is a great opportunity for us beast race to rise again. As long as we absorb the power of law within his body, our race will dominate the ancient gods. Search carefully. Don't let even an inch of it slip by. Even if the people controlling the laws weren't gods, they would still be extremely powerful existences. However, these beast race members of the Ji Yuan were not afraid at all. They were not afraid at all. He was completely looking down on those who controlled the laws. Not just them within a radius of tens of thousands of km, many races were the same. They were all unscrupulously searching for Long Fei. There was only one goal: eat him and get strength from his body. Deep Abyss Mountain. It was simply a man-eating mountain range. Within the dilapidated temple. What did you say? The various demon beast races in the Deep Abyss Mountain all possess bodies that can resist the power of the law. Impossible, right? Were they not from the 100,000 planes? Come from another world or some other world? Li Yuanba said in shock. Xia Long said, I have been here for half a year. My understanding of Deep Abyss Mountain is this is close to the polar region, and their physiques have become different over time. Polar region. This was probably the most difficult place amongst the 100,000 planes. Surviving in this place required a unique physique. During the millions of years that the main temple had controlled, their bodies and souls had slowly transformed in the polar illusions. This was a natural evolution. Many of them were able to withstand the power of law with ease. This was one of the reasons why Deep Abyss Mountain was in danger. The tribes here were enemies to the humans for generations, so the humans could not take even half a step inside. They also could not take even half a step out of the Deep Abyss Mountain, as this place was just like a special world. Their own world. Not only can they resist the attack of the power of law, they also hate humans. As long as they catch them, they'll eat them alive. I wonder if the General Assembly will be in danger. Deep Abyss Mountain drank so much. What a strange race. If I was not careful, I would. Not waiting for him to finish. Li Yuanba had already stood up and walked out of the rundown temple. Where are you going, King Kong? Li Yuanba said, looking for boss. Chapter 2057. Elder sister, he wants to duel you. Chapter 2057. Elder sister, he wants to duel you. Origin Fox Valley. In an extremely secretive valley, the surrounding jungle was dense, and there was no way into the valley. There was only one ancient tree in the valley, and the rest were all cliffs made of diamond and rock. Flying birds and monkeys were not allowed to climb it. This was a natural and dangerous place. Long Fei was carried by 4 absolute beauties from the forest into the valley. The moment he stepped into the valley, white-clothed fairies flew out from the various tree holes on the ancient tree branches. The difference between them and immortals was that their auras were slightly different. Demonic chi. Got it. Got it. We've caught the man that controls the power of law. In the blink of an eye, over 100 foxwomen gathered around. All of them had the same kind of unique looks, and all of them had their own unique features. Some were flirtatious, some were charming, and some were enchanting. Looking at the girls around him, this was a place of warmth and gentleness. It was a place where all men wanted to come in. Holy **T. Are all the beauties in the world here? Is this a girl's country? Damn. If anyone could have so many beautiful wives, wouldn't they all die of sexual bliss? Long Fei's heart started to thump. However, seeing them drooling and drooling, Long Fei felt a chill in their hearts. They were not thirsty, but they wanted to eat Long Fei's flesh and drink his blood. Such a good girl. Why are you eating people? Long Fei was puzzled. At this moment, a lady said, "The clan leader is here." Immediately, all the women stepped back, serious expressions on their faces. Long Fei's heart trembled. If ordinary disciples are already so beautiful, then isn't the patriarch the most beautiful out of them all? An old woman walked out from a huge tree hole under the ancient tree. He had wrinkles all over his face, and his hands were covered in age spots. He had a cane, and his hair was white. He looked just like an old granny, just like these girls. The old granny was similarly dressed in revealing clothes, with her chest wrapped around. However, her chest, Holy **T. It hurts my eyes. Although Long Fei did not open his eyes, he was able to see the old granny's appearance clearly with his eyes opened. However, the two identical girls beside the old granny made Long Fei's heart jump. Twins. The Fox twins of the City of Martial Arts. After being escorted out by Ziyu, there was no trace of him. Even when Long Fei was unconscious, he was unable to find them. Patriarch, it's this human. How should we eat him? He has the power of law. If we confuse with his power, then we don't have to be afraid of other tribes. Patriarch, eat him. Eat him. All of a sudden, all the foxwomen started shouting in unison, "Eat him! Eat him!" The old granny walked over and glanced at Long Fei. At this moment, the twins also noticed Long Fei and immediately asked, "Master!" The two of them were extremely excited, immediately running over to help Long Fei up. "Master! It's him!" The two girls became excited. The entire audience went silent. A woman said, "Your slave nature hasn't changed. Why are you still calling me master? Humph. Are you addicted to being a slave?" They all revealed looks of disdain. The grandma's voice grew heavy as she coughed lightly. "Bai Ling, is he the man who saved you?" Bai Ling was the twins' name. "Yes, mother-in-law. He's the one who saved us. Since all of you owe me a favor, then—" The old granny was about to speak. Someone immediately said, "Clan leader, this man has cultivated in the power of law. We cannot let him go. Even if we let him go, he will be captured by other tribes in the Deep Abyss Mountain. No way. You can't eat him. He saved us before. He is our savior. Isn't our demon fox race supposed to repay our grace?" Bai Ling and Luo Hua City, Mistress stood beside Long Fei to protect him. "That's because he helped you, not us. Also, you two have been in human time for so long. Are you two still considered foxes?" "Exactly. You two are not worthy of being foxes. You are just tools used by human slaves." All the girls began to despise him. They hated humans and hated their own people as slaves. Since he had been captured, he should have died. To become the tool of humanity made the entire fox race look down upon it. Thus, when they fled here, they were greatly disrespected. If it wasn't for the grandma's protection, the two of them wouldn't have been able to enter the original Fox Valley. The twin women couldn't stop crying. They had always been discriminated against. They also didn't want to become slaves, and they also didn't want to become tools. However, they simply had no other choice. Clan leader, you don't have to give the order, but you should know the situation of our tribe. We must eat this man and obtain his power. A fox woman with a huge chest said. The surrounding women immediately echoed his words. They looked at Long Fei like hungry wolves staring at a little lamb. The twin girls grabbed onto Long Fei without letting go. The old granny wanted to protect them, but under this situation, if she stopped them, internal strife would appear in the fox race, and they would need Long Fei's power. If he could control another power of the ancient code, then fox race would no longer have to fear anyone in Deep Abyss Mountain. He closed his eyes. Upon seeing this, all of the female foxes revealed greedy smiles. Grandma, Granny, he saved us. The two twin girls were still guarding Long Fei. In their hearts, not only were they grateful to Long Fei, they had also fallen in love with him because he had treated them like human beings. Pull them apart. If they don't listen, then show them something. Humph! Just as the numerous fox race girls were about to pounce on him, Long Fei stretched his hands out slightly as if he had just woken up. Looking at the surrounding fox woman, he said, "Wow, there are so many beauties. I'm not dreaming, am I?" Many fox women were stunned. Everyone was on their guard. Why is the power of charm losing effect? That's impossible. The expressions of the four women who caught Long Fei changed slightly. The power of seduction was indeed strong. But what kind of woman had Long Fei not seen before? Besides, what kind of poison had he never been infected with before? The power of attraction wasn't enough. Long Fei stared at the big-breasted woman and said, "I thought I heard that you wanted to eat me? Come, come, come. Let's find a place to eat alone. I'll let you have your fill." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. It was fine to deal with him, but do not touch the people around him. The twins moved him. I can't bully them. Long Fei's words stunned all of the girls. One of the ladies said, "Big sister, he wants to fight you one-on-one." "One-on-one? Fight." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "I like this crude way." Chapter 2058. Tearing Clothes? I am good at it. Chapter 2058. Tearing Clothes? I am good at it. Long Fei liked to solve the problem in a simple and crude way. 1v1. I like it. But what Long Fei did not expect was that something that he liked even more had happened. The big-chested woman said, "All right, let's find a place to duel. I'll definitely eat you." To the fox-kind warrior, in a duel, whoever won would receive the right to eat that person. Long Fei wanted her to issue a challenge. Then as long as she wins, Long Fei will be hers. Long Fei was stunned. The twin girls immediately pulled Long Fei back and said, "Master, don't fight with her. You're not her match. She's the #1 warrior of the fox race." Worried, they knew of Long Fei's strength, but they knew even more about Big Sis power. It was not an ordinary type of power. The power of the ancient code that Long Fei controlled was completely useless against them. Although the foxes were the weakest amongst the tribes in Deep Abyss Mountain, they were still the warrior-s with strong fighting capabilities, and the big breast sister was one of them. People say, Mother Yiksha. It was incomparably fierce. There had never been a single failure in the history of duels. Humph, why are you two stopping me? He has already challenged me, and now he has no choice but to refuse. The big breast sister was overbearing. He did not give Long Fei any way out. She would not allow anyone to stop her from eating Long Fei. As long as Long Fei was eaten, her cultivation would definitely increase greatly. She had never stopped pursuing martial arts, so she definitely wouldn't miss such a good opportunity. Seeing Long Fei in a daze, the Fox tribe disciples all thought that Long Fei had been scared stiff. However, no one could see the evil in his eyes, nor the excitement in his eyes. He seriously said, "Do we have to find a place without people to fight it out?" Big Breast Sister replied, "Yes." Long Fei asked again, "Must you do this?" Big Breast Sister said, "Are you afraid?" "I'm afraid it's too late." "I am a little afraid." Long Fei became excited. "Damn, are you asking for help?" "Sure." "Then brother will help you, let you blossom, let you know what it means to be gentle to women, to fight, to eat and drink. These things are not what women should be doing." Long Fei's heart started to turn evil, staring at Big Breast Sister's chest, and hands started to itch, as if he was unable to endure the thirst. Big Breast Sister, kill him! Kill him! Big Sister, Big Sister! The surrounding fox woman began to cheer. Each one was more excited than the last. It could be seen that these fox women were all quite aggressive. The twins pulled on Long Fei and shook their heads, saying, "Master, don't go. She will definitely eat you alive. Don't go." They were really worried for Long Fei. Long Fei smiled lightly. "Don't worry, I'll be fine." And then Big Breast Sister's figure moved. Suddenly he was hit by an illusion and landed at an opening in the ancient tree. He crooked his finger at Long Fei and said, "Come." Finished. Big Breast Sister stepped into the tree cave. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the fox woman as behind him all stepped forward and shouted in unison, "Go, go, go, go." As he continued to shout, it seemed as if he was afraid that Long Fei might escape. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, "Let's wait and see. Women should be caressed by men. Such a woman was a woman. Otherwise, he would never know what it meant to be a woman and enjoy things for the rest of his life." Long Fei landed at the entrance of the tree with a single leap and revealed an evil smile as he muttered, "Watch how I hit your, but until it blooms." He took a step inside. The tree hole was huge, and the center was like a small square. Light shone from the various tree holes, turning the entire tree hole into a magical place. Long Fei's footsteps fell. He stood in the middle of the hollow tree and said, "Let's fight one-on-one. Come at me." Not waiting for him to finish, a phantom moved, and a sharp claw followed. Schwa! Long Fei was caught off guard. His reaction was slow by half a second, and the clothes on his chest were torn to shreds, revealing 3 bloody lines. He shuddered in his heart. Damn! It was so exciting right from the start. I like it. In the dark, Big Breast's sister licked the blood on his claws and said solemnly, "Such rich, profound chi, such an exciting power." While they were talking, Big Breast's sister's figure disappeared once again. Very quickly, she attacked again. This time, her movement was even faster. Her movements were constantly changing like the moves of a fox. Long Fei stood in his original position, motionlessly, as he released the power of the killing principle, released the speed and power of the sky principle. But what made him curious was that these 2 powers of law could not sense the position of the Big Breast sister. The power of law is useless. Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, the clothes at his chest were ripped apart once again. Humph! Power of law. The power of law is trash and useless to us, Big Breast sister said with disdain. This was the special characteristic of the Deep Abyss Mountain. The polar regions were extremely difficult to survive in. The tens of millions of years of evolution had made the people that lived here abnormally powerful, able to resist the power of the laws of the 100,000 planes of existence. This was their terror. The powerhouse of the laws are useless here. Is that so? Long Fei muttered. Slash. A large part of Long Fei's clothes were torn off, causing him to become a little angry. You like tearing clothes that much? Or should I say, You can't wait. You want to see my body?" While they were talking, Long Fei's hands pulled and directly tore off his shirt, revealing pieces of muscles, as well as his perfect body. Big Breast Sister frowned, let out a cold snort, and said, "Humph, who cares about your body? What I want is your blood essence, your flesh, your heart, your liver, your spleen, lungs, kidneys, and your brain. I'm going to eat everything you have. Holy *T. So ruthless. It's not good for a woman to think about eating people, right? And don't you think eating people is disgusting? Why not? I'll eat you up. Rest assured, my way is very harmonious, and you'll definitely like it and enjoy it very much." Long Fei grinned evilly and continued, "It's so hot here. It's not good to wear so much. I've already taken it off. You should take it off too. This will be more fair." "Right." While they were talking, Long Fei moved a speed, and the idea formed. Buzz. Soon, Big Breast Sister's expression tensed. She was not afraid at all. In her entire life, she had never been afraid of anyone, so she directly went up to meet him head-on. With a shout, she said, "I will tear you apart." Long Fei's idea turned into a shadow. Schwa, a claw from the sleigh. In the instant of sleigh, in front of the Big Breast Sister, his expression darkened as he cried out, "Damn it!" Long Fei did not show any mercy. Using his hand as a blade, he cut open the clothes on the back of Big Breast Sister. It was just right and did not harm her skin at all. More importantly, the clothes in front of her slid off. Chapter 2059. Subdue all of them. Chapter 2059. Subdue all of them. The scene of the blood veins spitting out blood appeared. Gudong. Long Fei could not help but swallow his saliva as the evil flames started to grow. Big Breast Sister subconsciously reacted as he held onto his chest with both hands. His face turned red as he spoke with extreme hatred. "Evil thief! That's not right. You should have called me a damn scoundrel." Long Fei grinned. The scene made him even more excited and said, "Duels, I prefer melee combat. How many clothes do you still have on you? So, take it off too." In that instant, Long Fei moved again. Big Breast Sister said, angrily, "Do you think I would be afraid of you?" While she was speaking, she made a counterattack gesture and moved both her hands, completely exposing her white chest. Long Fei said sinisterly, "Your chest is exposed." "Ah." Big Breast Sister was surprised again, his hands covering his chest fiercely, his entire body turning red from anger. "Women, no matter what kind of woman you are, you will always be able to protect the most important parts of your body, let alone being in front of an unfamiliar man." Even if Big Breast Sister was the #1 warrior of the fox race. However, in the end, she was still a woman. Her clothes were torn, and her fighting strength had already been reduced by half. In the instant that she was panicking, Long Fei moved once again. He circled behind her, grabbed her panties, and forcefully pulled. "You like ripping clothes, right? Now let's tear it again." Slash. Another gauze dress had been torn, and now there was only one left on her body. Big Breast Sister was so angry that smoke was about to come out from his head. She had never met such a shameless hooligan before. He was too shameless, too wretched. Tear off clothes? Come on, rip. They hurt each other. Long Fei looked at the pair of long legs. In his previous life, even if he was playing with these long legs for a year, he wouldn't be tired of them. The Big Breast Sister said angrily, "What are you trying to do?" Long Fei turned evil and shamelessly asked, "What do you want to do?" "Of course it's a 1v1. Finished. Long Fei moved again, and his figure disappeared into the air. Big Breast Sister's face sank. He then went into a defensive position, and his chest appeared again. "It's showing again. Ha ha ha." I saw it all this time. So big. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Big Breast's sister's face was so red that juice seemed to drip out. In a moment of desperation, his battle prowess fell once again. It was less than a third of the usual amount. Ha ha! Long Fei smiled sinisterly. Women are still women, they're still too inexperienced. While they were talking, Long Fei's figure once again landed behind Big Breast's sister, with a whoosh, ripping the last of her clothes off her body. And at this moment, boom, a powerful wall appeared. All of a sudden, the Big Breast's sister was pushed against the wall of the tree hole. You want to eat me? Now I'll eat you first. Long Fei grew dark and evil, and then a crazy melee. Pow, 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 outside the ancient tree. Everyone waited anxiously. Why hasn't Big Sister come out yet? He couldn't have lost, right? Impossible. Big Sis has never lost before. She is our Fox Clan's #1 warrior. Even if she is the ancient Elephant Clan's warrior, she would definitely not lose. Then why isn't he coming out yet? Is she already eating that man? Does that man truly grasp the power of law? Why didn't I sense it? Everyone whispered. Big Breast's sister held a very high position in the Foxes, and many people worshipped him because his martial power was strong enough. Not a single battle had been lost. A war god. They couldn't help but worry for such a long period of time. The twins were also worried. They were worried about both the Big Breast sister and Long Fei. And more so, it's been so long, will something bad happen? Should we go in and take a look? No way. Before Big Sister comes out, no one is allowed to go in. The old woman's eyes darkened. She seemed to have sensed something and looked towards the sky, saying, let's go take a look outside the valley. Patriarch, what happened? The old granny said, there is an unfamiliar aura approaching. Yes, sir. Are you convinced? If you don't agree, then let's do it again. The Big Breast sister did not have a single ounce of strength left and said, yes, I'm convinced. That's more like it. Long Fei grinned and said, now, do you know what it feels like to be a woman? He took out a set of dry clothes from the space ring and threw it onto Big Breast sister's body, saying, you have my Long Fei's imprint on you, and from now on, you are my Long Fei's woman. Don't worry, I won't let anyone bully you. Of course, there will be two outcomes like this. Either I fall in love with you, or I hate you to the bone, and I will never forgive you for the rest of my life. Fortunately, Big Breast's sister was at the front. Just as Long Fei had said, she did not know before, but now she knew what it meant to be a woman. Long Fei draped the clothes over her body and felt incomparable warmth. Just this one action caused her heart to melt. Let's go. Go out. Big Breast's sister was not easy to walk in, so Long Fei helped her out of the tree cave. It's out. Big Sister is coming out. Why is he still here? What's the situation? The Fox tribe disciples were puzzled. Big Sister, did you lose? Big Breast sister nodded. He did not feel discouraged, but instead had a blissful expression and said, I lost. I lost to my man. The entire audience was stunned. The entire valley quieted down. Lost? And he even said it was a man who lost to him? Many people could not accept this. Big Breast sister looked at Long Fei with eyes full of love, then looked at the numerous clansmen under the tree and said, if you don't accept it, you can challenge him. Hubby, you have to accept it too. Let's subdue them all, hee. Chapter 2060, 3 tribes. Chapter 2060, 3 tribes, hundreds of Fox women. If they submitted, this was a huge project. The amount of time needed to face them was at least huge. Long Fei trembled and was startled. Both of Big Breast sister's hands wrapped around Long Fei's neck and said charmingly, If you love me, then you want the entire fox race to submit, and you want them all to be your women. Hubby, you can do it. The big-breast sister revealed a mischievous expression. I can't satisfy you alone. With this many sisters, I should be able to satisfy you, right? Longfei looked at the beauties and muttered, Damn, I'm afraid this is not good, right? You never know what a woman is thinking. Longfei was worried that the big-breast sister would dig a hole for him to jump into, so he didn't care about where he would find the big-breast sister. He looked at Longfei and said, Hubby, can't you do it? After hearing those words, Longfei immediately became angry and said, Call them over. There was nothing a man couldn't do. Big-breast sister laughed and said, Did you hear that? He wants to challenge all of you. Immediately, all of the foxwomen took a step forward with eyes filled with rage. Humph, I've never seen anyone so arrogant. Come on, who's afraid of who? To challenge our entire fox race. Isn't that a little too presumptuous? Big sister, are you sure he can take it? Discussions broke out. All of them were eager to try, as they had been wanting to eat Longfei since the beginning, just like how Big Breast Sister had. Longfei looked at each and every one of them, and his heart was secretly filled with evil as he said, Looks like we'll have to massacre everyone here today. At this moment, the patriarch walked out, looked at Longfei, and said, I'll be the first one up. Plop. Longfei could not even stand steadily and almost fell down from the tree and immediately said, forget about the patriarch, right? I really can't take this. Big Breast Sister snickered. The patriarch was depressed. Then no one is allowed to challenge me. In addition, you have defeated the fox warrior. According to our fox race's etiquette, we should treat you as our guest of honor. You are a human, and the foxes have been enemies for generations, so you cannot enter the tree hollow. The old granny said. Longfei jumped down from the tree and said, No problem. Big Breast Sister was a little reluctant. The old granny glared at Big Breast Sister. Her eyes were sharp, the cane in her hands shook. She shouted, Enter the cave! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk, within a few seconds, all the hundreds of foxwomen as had entered the tree hole, leaving Longfei standing alone in the valley, unable to understand anything. What's going on? What's going on? Inside the tree cave, the old granny's expression was serious as she stared at Big Breast Sister. Although she did not see it, she knew that there was a change in Big Breast Sister's body. One limp, that was all. It was also very clear that the old granny was someone who had been through a lot. Big Breast Sister kneeled down and said, Patriarch, I'm sorry. I broke the ring. With that, the old granny took a step forward and lifted the sleeve of the Big Breast Sister that was still dressed in Longfei's clothes. Zhang Xian frowned. Everyone was shocked. Big sister, how could this be? That damn human, I'll immediately go out and kill him. This is going too far. Humans don't have any good stuff. All of their gazes revealed hatred, wishing that they could tear Longfei into pieces. Big Breast Sister said, Everything is my fault. It has nothing to do with him. I am willing to bear all the punishments. The twins immediately said, Grandma, Longfei is not a bad person. He is different from the other humans. He was the one who saved us. The two of you should have been tainted by him, right? Bastards, I shouldn't have let the two of you into the valley. Patriarch, this man must die. They hated humans for generations, especially men. They knew very well that the reason they had been captured and trained was to serve men. Longfei taking care of their big sister in their mountain valley was equivalent to insulting them and their sacred grounds. The eldest sister knelt in front of him and said, Clan leader, everything was voluntary and has nothing to do with him. I beg you, please don't make things difficult for him. She knew the consequences of being hit by Long Fei's wall. She knew she couldn't hide it. However, she didn't want Long Fei to die here, because Long Fei was her man, the man she loved. The grandma's eyes darkened. The surrounding fox woman, cursed, looked down on him, and some of them even went even madder, wanting to rush out and fight to the death with Long Fei. The old granny shook the cane in her hand and said coldly, "Lock her up. As for that human, observe her for a few days first." Big Breast Sister said, "Thank you, Patriarch. Thank you, Patriarch." At this moment, the idol of her, the #1 warrior of the fox race, instantly crumbled. Many people spat on her face, but she did not complain at all. She was willing to give up everything for Long Fei. In the valley, Long Fei looked at the surrounding cliffs and muttered, "Deep Abyss Mountain is not simple. My power of law is actually useless." It seems like this is the most frightening thing about Deep Abyss Mountain. I wonder how Big Breast Sister is doing. If we could take down the entire Demi-Fox race's women, then it would be very comfortable. Someone is beating the back, someone is beating the legs, and there is even someone carrying tea to pass the water. This is life. After a long time, when Long Fei saw that no fox woman came out from the tree cave, he sat cross-legged. The idea moved. Enter the training mode. Refining mode. The world that Long Fei resided in suddenly changed and appeared on top of a huge refining platform. If he wanted to obtain the dragon's blood, he would have to break through all of these supporting occupations and complete the mission. Also, he still had a main god fragment on him. If he could successfully insert it into the Yama edge, then the thousands of people beheaded would be even more formidable. Ding! Refining failed. Buzz! Long Fei's idea sank again. Both its mind and body had split apart as if it had died once. Again. Ding! Refining failed. Continue. Refining failed. Although Long Fei's refining proficiency did not increase, his understanding towards refining continued to increase. The night passed in silence. Early morning, a fox woman hurriedly returned to the valley from the outside and took a look at Long Fei before he drilled into the hole in the tree. Patriarch, the ancient elephant tribe, the demonic wolf tribe, and the fierce tiger tribe have surrounded the jungle outside the valley so that not even a drop of water can leak out. The grandma's expression changed, and she said, "Even the 3 tribes is here. Patriarch, they must be here for that human. No, we have to eat him first. Once we grasp the power of the laws on his body, the 3 tribes will not be able to do anything to us. Patriarch, eat him first, then fight it out with the people from 3 tribes. Agreed. Agreed. Eat him first. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2061, Hardness. Chapter 2061, Hardness. Long Fei was the culprit. Eating him would also increase the strength of the foxes, and would also remove the cause of disaster, allowing the 3 tribes to leave the valley. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The old granny steeled her heart and thought to herself, "What people wish for, Long Fei, even though you are handsome, you can't blame me for that." For the sake of the foxes, she could only make a choice. If Long Fei died, the people from 3 tribes would definitely leave. Just as the fox tribe was researching how to eat Long Fei was still crazily cultivating in his cultivation mode. Ding! Refinery failure. I can't get the reward. Boom! Once again being blasted to death. The moment Long Fei's violent temper rose, he shouted out heavily, "Then let's do it again." He was as furious as a wild bull. He continued on crazily. Artifact forging was different from killing steel armor beast. It needed to comprehend it bit by bit, and develop its own thoughts bit by bit. In training space, it was impossible to obtain a skill or proficiency, and it was useless even here. even if Long Fei's refining techniques had reached the pinnacle of this world. The level of equipment forging in this cultivation mode completely exceeded that of 100,000 planes. Everything that Long Fei knew in the past was completely useless. Ding! Fail! Boom! The idea was smashed into pieces. Long Fei experienced death once again, and now he was numb to it. He no longer felt anything about death, so he roared out in his heart, again. Just as he was engrossed in refining the spirit artifact, the twins approached each other soundlessly. Master Long Fei, Master Long Fei. Long Fei quickly recovered. The two of you? Bai Ling anxiously said. You should leave quickly. Granny will really study how to capture you. If I eat you, you should leave quickly and never come back. Huh. Long Fei's heart trembled and said, You still want to eat me? Then, where's the big breast sister? Long Fei immediately wanted to beat Big Breast Sister up. He could tell that the Big Breast Sister was definitely in love with him. They would definitely not participate, and they would not allow Fox race people to eat him. Bai Ling said, Big Sister will be fine after being locked up. Master Long Fei, you should leave quickly. If you don't, it'll be too late. Also, you must not leave from the bramble forest at the front of the valley. There are people from the 3 tribes there, and they are also here for you. Long Fei was secretly surprised, thinking back to a Fox tribe disciple who hastily walked into the cave in the tree not long ago. He said, He also came for me. The twins said, Master Long Fei, don't think too much into it right now. Hurry up and leave. When you leave the Deep Abyss Mountain, the tribes and humans of the Deep Abyss Mountain are irreconcilable. They will not let you pass through the Deep Abyss Mountain alive. The tribes of the Deep Abyss Mountain had once served humanity as well, but after the victory of the war, they were abandoned. Thus, they hated humans for generations. Hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. Long Fei did not understand so much and was too lazy to care about all these. His woman would not do if she was locked up. He had already said a few hours ago that he would protect her, being captured now. What was this? What was a man like him? Are you talking nonsense? Long Fei asked. Is 3 tribes still surrounding the Brambles Forest? The twins said, Well, don't worry. They won't be able to come in. Their bodies aren't as agile as the ones in the forest. They won't be able to come in. This jungle was extremely dense, and ordinary people couldn't enter at all. Long Fei's brows tightened as he muttered, It is indeed difficult to enter this thorny forest, but if we attack with fire, this forest will be the graveyard of the fox race. As the wind blew, thick smoke billowed. When that happened, there would be no place for the foxes to hide. Tell your patriarch, I will go stop the 3 tribes. I will push them back. But if you still don't let go of Big Breast Sister after I push you back, I won't be polite. Finished. Long Fei didn't stop at all, and with a quick leap, he disappeared from where he stood. The twins stared blankly, not enough time to stop it. His eyes filled with incomparable anxiety. He loudly shouted, Master Long Fei, don't go anywhere. You are not their match. Hurry up and leave. It was also at this time the foxes all rushed out together, surrounding the twins. Patriarch, that man ran away. We can't let him escape. He is our trump card. 3 tribes won't let us go without him. Just chase them. The fox race disciple became anxious. When Long Fei left, the 3 tribes was still guarding the valley entrance. They couldn't resist the 3 tribes at all, and if this continued, they would be trapped to death inside the valley. The twins immediately stepped forward and said, Grandma, Master Long Fei said that he will force 3 tribes back. If he can force 3 tribes back, he wants you to let go of Big Sister. If you don't release him. The old woman's eyes trembled slightly. Without waiting for her to speak, A fox elder asked, "What will happen if we don't release him?" The twins truthfully said, "He won't hold back." "How dare you?" "Humph! This is too arrogant. Who does he think he is?" "Arrogant just because he grasped a tiny bit of the power of law? This is the deep abyss mountain. What the hell is he?" "You aren't courteous to us." "Doesn't he know how he got here?" Many of the fox race disciples were very angry. "If I can catch Long Fei once, I can catch him twice." They did not place Long Fei in their eyes at all. The clan leader replied solemnly, "If he can force 3 tribes back." "Ha ha ha! Chief, you don't really believe this kind of nonsense, do you? He chose to escape. Do you think that he would go and repel the 3 tribes? Even if he did not escape, how could he repel the 3 tribes? Even a fool wouldn't believe that." "Exactly. The 3 tribes is so powerful as a human, so what if he knows a little bit about the power of law? They're all looking for trouble." They simply did not believe that Long Fei could repel the 3 tribes. Even more so, he didn't believe that Yi Zichen would go. At a time like this, he should be running away. "Patriarch, why don't we compromise with the 3 tribes? That man definitely escaped. We 4 tribes are looking for him together. There might be a chance for us to escape." "Yes, Patriarch. 3 tribes, we can't even defend against a single tribe, let alone an alliance of the 3 tribes." The twins said, "I will definitely do what Master Long Fei says. Grandma, please believe in him." "Trust my ass. If he can force back the 3 tribes, I'll do whatever you want me to do, even if it's the same as Big Sister." "Me too." "It's impossible." The twins were crushed by the tyrannical disciples. Patriarch's eyes darkened. "Give him 1 night. Since he did not repel the 3 tribes, there is no need for us to believe him." 1 night. There was nothing to be done. Just traversing through the jungle of thorns would require half a night's worth of time. Of course, this was for others. Long Fei was different. He was scared by these thorns. Do you want to accept it? Do you want to accept it? Either it got stuck here or it got stabbed there. Moreover, these thorns were not ordinary thorns. They were poisonous. Long Fei's body had an extremely high resistance to poison. He could not feel any of this poison, but he was very annoyed. So annoying. After about half an hour, he had walked less than 10 meters forward, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. "Fuck you." Long Fei shouted a vulgar word. Looking at the formerly densely packed forest of thorns, his fury rose as he roared out loudly, "All of you, go to the side and die." Boom. The dragon's fire burned. Long Fei took a step forward, and the thorns around him instantly turned into dust. When they touched the dragon fire on Long Fei's body, they became powder. Super watch. Boom. 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 He went berserk along the way, his momentum like a hot knife through butter. It had originally taken a few hours, but now it had taken less than half a minute. "Elder, look!" There is a fire rushing out from the forest of thorns. A disciple of the fierce tiger tribe quickly reported. At this moment, everyone from 3 tribes walked out. The leader rolled his eyes and said, "Using fire to attack. Ha! This jungle of thorns is afraid of fire. Why didn't they think of that at the beginning? Let's go. Let's see what this ball of fire is." The Fox Clan warrior has not cultivated fire element energy, right? The 3 tribes walked up in unison. Suddenly, a huge elephant from the ancient elephant clan suddenly shouted, "It's a human." As soon as he finished, 3 tribes' warrior instantly entered a state of battle. The 2 weapons surrounding the thorny forest's entrance, till not even a drop of water could trickle through. Boom. It was also at this time. The thorny jungle penetrated through it. Long Fei let out a breath, and said, "Damn, this should be a lot easier now." In the blink of an eye, several hundred pairs of eyes stared at him with naked eyes, unmoving, and these people were all in a half-demon and half-human state. The fierce tiger tribe had tiger stripes all over their body, and their muscles were filled with explosive power. Ancient elephant clan, huge body, immense power. The eyes of the wolf demon flashed with a sinister light. Moreover, they all had one thing in common. They could instantly transform into beasts. This meant that they had two different battle styles, and their beast transmogrification was even more terrifying. Long Fei's heart trembled. With a light smile, he asked, 3 tribes? He did not act rashly. The big-breast sister was not afraid of his power of law, and there was no doubt that the warrior was the same. No matter what the reason was, if they could be brought into the battleground, it would be a super army. Of course. If not, then kill them again. You are that human? The leader of the demonic wolf tribe could no longer hold it in. He drooled and said excitedly, I can already smell the power in his blood. It's so pure. An elder of the fierce tiger tribe said, Demon Wolf, don't forget our previous agreement. The elder stared at Long Fei and asked, Did you destroy the fox race? Long Fei laughed. Not destroyed. The fox race has already been subdued by me. Now I want to surrender to your 3 tribes. My name is Long Fei. I can bring you guys to act tough, to fly away. The crux of the matter is whether or not you two want to act cool, whether or not you two want to fly. Long Fei said in a very arrogant tone. This made the people of 3 tribes very unhappy. Everyone's eyes darkened as they stared at Long Fei. Anger was growing. Elder Lai, who said, There hasn't been a single human that has dared to say such words in front of us. What's the big deal about taming fox race? Surrender to us? Humph, brat, you should take a piss to see your own morals. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei raised his eyes, and his body suddenly moved. Boom. The pace was 8 characters, not fast. Anyone could see it clearly. Elder Lai, whose reaction was extremely fast. The moment Long Fei moved, he reacted, and seeing Long Fei rush towards him 1 step at a time, he disdainfully said, You're overestimating yourself. His body sank. With both hands on the ground, he stomped on the ground. Shwa! An ear-piercing sound of something tearing through the air rang out. His speed was several times faster than Long Fei. Speed could bring one's strength to its limits. The fierce tiger race's speed and strength perfectly fused together, and what they were best at was suddenly using force. An incomparably ferocious, explosive force. Ripples of space tore around his body. Fuck. Long Fei was shocked. It's really fierce. He had to say it. Elder Lai, who had perfectly fused speed and power, and the sudden attack was even more perfect. Such an attack could even be said to be unstoppable by ordinary gods. He's dead for sure. This arrogant human is dead for sure. Ha ha ha. Subdue our 3 tribes? Is he even a hair's breadth away? Arrogant in front of us. Isn't this courting death? Many of the clansmen began to mock him. He mocked Long Fei for overestimating himself. They had never been afraid of anyone as to what kind of existence the Deep Abyss Mountain was, even if he was a god, and didn't dare recklessly enter the Deep Abyss Mountain either, because this was their territory, their world. They were the paragons. Of course, they did not know Long Fei. He did not even know who Long Fei was. Seeing Elder Lai, whose explosive strength, Long Fei grinned and said, That's fierce, I like it. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's 8-word footsteps suddenly dropped, both of his feet rooted to the ground, directly standing in place, not moving an inch. This action caused everyone to be shocked once again. What does he want to do? Waiting for death. Or should I say, he blocked the Elder Lai Who just like that? Aren't you being too arrogant? Big brother Liahu, he doesn't even put you in his eyes. He's insulting the Liahu tribe. Long Fei did not move. He just stood there and allowed the elder Liahu to strike him. This was an insult to the fierce tiger tribe. Immediately, the outburst of the elder Lai, who, in the air, became a little stronger, acting cool. You have to act tough. Since the fierce tiger tribe was an expert in speed and sudden burst of power, then crush it completely. Long Fei's body acted as a shield and was just standing there, waiting for you to hit it. It's to go head to head with your strongest weapon. How arrogant! In the blink of an eye, the elder Lai, who was like a spinning awl, crazily drilling down and causing a hurricane to tremble, the leader of the monster wolf pack. All the elders of the ancient mammoth race were shocked. Boom! It heavily smashed into Long Fei's chest. Buzz! A power exploded out horizontally, causing the air to vibrate with an explosive sound. Long Fei's chest looked like it was about to split open. Every inch of his skin was being torn apart, and he was in incomparable pain. He didn't use any divine power, much less the power of law. It was based on the resistance of the physical body. He withstood it. Long Fei's body did not move. Both of his fists exploded, aimed straight at Elder Liahu's head, suddenly stopping a little away from his head. He chuckled and said, "Are you convinced?" Chapter 2063, System Reward. Chapter 2063, System Reward. Are you convinced? He spoke softly, but to the elder Lai, who, it was as if the power of thunder had exploded in his sea of consciousness. Such a powerful force did not push Long Fei back at all. And at that moment, Long Fei's attack landed, but the force that was above his head suddenly disappeared. Obviously, he could definitely seriously injure himself. Difference? Humiliation? The elder Lai, whose anger sunk as he let out a roar of a tiger. You can't accept this. Unconvinced. Ha ha. Long Fei only laughed lightly, the fist floating above elder Lai, whose head suddenly moved. Then we will fight until you submit. What does he want to do? His fist is moving. With such a small distance, he simply doesn't have any explosive power. Even if it were to hit Elder Lai, whose body, relying on his physical defense, wouldn't be able to harm him at all. Exactly. Is this human retarded? Explosions required a distance to reach, a distance of less than 10 centimeters. Even if one's strength was extremely high, it would still be impossible for one to unleash much of it. The people around them thought so. Elder Liahu thought so too. His feet landed on the ground, and with a push they formed a bow. All the strength in his body surged once again. His body doubled in size, and the explosive force in his muscles became even stronger. With a deep voice, he shouted, "Charge!" Boom! An explosion sounded in the air. The power exploded out. If the power from earlier was not his strongest power, then this power was definitely the strongest power in his body. However, the instant his strength exploded, Long Fei's fist came down. Humph! With such a close distance, how much explosive power could it have? Elder Liahu disdained him and simply did not put Long Fei's move in his eyes, and did not bother about it either. However, the instant Long Fei's fist landed on his back, his eyeballs were about to pop out. His body sank, his chest caved in, and he suffered from 8 odd meridians, his limbs and bones. It was as if his entire body was pressed down by a huge mountain. That power, they were unable to contend. It wasn't the power of law. Uff! Boom! Elder Lai, whose body sank, and directly knelt in front of Long Fei. Above his head, a huge Buddha image appeared, showing a powerful strength. Power of Buddha. Moreover, it exploded under the influence of the rage mixture. Long Fei was worried that the power of Buddha alone would not be enough to crush Elder Lai, so he could only swallow a bottle of anger mixture. The power of this punch was extremely strong. Elder Lai, who couldn't take it. Long Fei smiled. There was not a single trace of contempt in his eyes, and only asked, "Are you convinced?" Pretending to be the Virgin. He had a kind expression on his face. It was as if Long Fei did not hit him just now. It was as if Long Fei was saving the Elder Lai, who was kneeling on the ground. The highest level of posturing. Elder Lai, who wanted to say that he couldn't accept it, but when he saw Long Fei's indifferent expression, he couldn't say a thing. He lowered his head and sighed, then said, "I submit." He couldn't be unconvinced. Long Fei failed to defend in both attacks. He didn't even succeed. However, Long Fei made a simple move and kneeled on the ground. This was the gap between them. It was hard to refuse. The fierce tiger tribe believed in strength. They did not have many tricks. They just had to submit. And if they did not accept it, they would not accept it. Long Fei's actions caused them to be convinced. If Long Fei used his full strength, the Elder Lai, who is probably dead now, just as Elder Lai who admitted defeat, an ancient elephant's shrill roar resounded. It was also at this moment that the sound of ancient worlds trampling could be heard. Long Fei's eyes went cold and slightly raised. He saw a giant elephant over 4 meters tall charging towards him. Its body was like a phantom image, as if it was a battlefield for giant elephants. The entire valley was trembling. The leader of the monster wolf pack laughed. Elder Lai, who was secretly shocked. This kind of attack was the powerful attack of the ancient elephant clan. It was different from the attack that he had just done. He had only attacked one point, and the ancient elephant clan had attacked the entire surface. There was no place to hide. He too, Elder Lai, whose face darkened, when he was really going to think of a way to block, Long Fei threw him out. Yi Zichen directly threw him to a safe place. Elder Lai, who felt grateful, and immediately shouted, "Guxiang Ancient, what are you trying to do? Do you want to kill me too? For an ancient elephant like you, there is no place for you to hide unless you can leap onto your backs." He was blaming the ancient elephant tribe. At the same time, he was also reminding Long Fei, because Long Fei had even saved him at that moment. The goblin wolf leader shivered. So jumping onto their backs is the way to break through the ancient elephant stampede. Ha ha! The expression in the eyes of the members of the ancient elephant tribe darkened. Elder Lai, who was right. However, if he wanted to do it, but no one. It was because they would all be smashed into dust by the ancient elephants. Long Fei stood in his original position, still not moving at all. He did not jump onto the back of the giant elephant either. "Then I will challenge you to your strongest attack." A giant elephant. Tanks on the battlefield. Furthermore, it was a tank that was charging fast. It was simply a killing machine on the battlefield. Moreover, if they were to cooperate with Giant Clan, that scene, Long Fei was a little excited. In that instant, Long Fei's body sank as he stared at the huge ancient elephant. The power in his arms suddenly exploded. Buzz! He immediately grabbed the 2 huge tusks. Crap! The scorching tiger elder's forehead tightened. The wolf demon clan leader laughed coldly. "Elder Lai, are you finally showing some concern for the human race? What does it have to do with you?" Elder Lai shouted. The demon wolf laughed. "Indeed, it's none of my business, but don't forget how your ancestors were abandoned by the humans. We've endured thousands of years of devastation, and polar storm was going to explode in another month, so it was hard to tell whether they could stop it or not. All of this was caused by humans. So who else could it be? Humans." The space between Elder Lai, whose eyebrows tightened, and he couldn't say a single word. Indeed, all of this is human. As they were speaking, Long Fei was not overturned by the ancient elephant. Both of his hands tightly held onto the two thick tusks as his body continuously sank downwards, not giving the ancient elephant any chance to fly towards him. Suddenly, the veins on Long Fei's arm popped out, and his eyes turned sinister. Under his sleeve, the dragon-shaped mark on his arm flashed with a ray of light. Long Fei roared in anger. He used both of his hands to push the giant elephant up, lifted up in the air. The entire audience was stunned. Everyone was dumbfounded. Long Fei looked at the giant elephant that was raised up in the air and shouted, "Are you convinced?" "I refuse to accept this." The giant elephant let out a loud roar, and at this moment, hundreds of giant elephants in the surroundings charged out at the same time. Rumble! Long Fei had no way to retreat from the 100 giant elephants' assault. However, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. The power in his body erupted, and he stomped his feet. Boom! A powerful shockwave was shot out. All the giant elephants were shocked and could not move at all. At the same time, Long Fei smashed the giant elephant in the air onto the ground and shouted again, "I'm just asking you, are you convinced or not?" Without waiting for the elephant to speak. However, the leader of the demonic wolf tribe said, "First, I submit." The huge elephant elder also said, "I submit." At this moment, the system sounded out, causing Long Fei's heart to tremble. "What's going on?" Ding! Thank you for your support. Chapter 2064, Super Abnormal Inherent Skill. Chapter 2064, Super Abnormal Inherent Skill. The system sounded out, causing Long Fei's heart to tremble. Logically speaking, he hadn't killed anyone, killed monsters, or completed any missions. Why would a notification sound suddenly ring out? At this time, Long Fei's heart sank, and he started to listen carefully. The goblin wolf leader saw that Long Fei's expression suddenly sank, and he stood there without moving. His eyeballs slightly turned as the corners of his mouth revealed a cold smile. At the same time, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Giant Elephant's Courage * pervert level. Do you wish to fuse it? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Touch of the Underworld Fire. Do you wish to fuse it? Two voices rang out. Long Fei's heart trembled even more. What's the situation? Talent from the League of Heroes? Mighty Elephant and Underworld Fire? Damn it! Abnormal level. How abnormal is it? Long Fei had a very good understanding of the two attributes, and his entire person was extremely excited. He quickly opened the system and checked. With the giant elephant's courage taking the initiative to attack, the passive defense would obtain an extremely strong shield with a value of 1 million points. Under special circumstances, it would also increase. The shield lasted for 1 minute. F***CK. Does it have to be that abnormal? Long Fei was stunned. This was more than just abnormal, it was super abnormal. The giant elephant in the game was completely different. Compared to this abnormal level, the mighty elephant in the game was not even considered an ant. In the game, only when the giant diagram took the initiative to attack would it be activated. And when Long Fei obtained a giant elephant, whether it was when you hit others or others, it would instantly activate. $1 million shield. The heck? She wanted to die even if she saw it. Needless to say, beat him up. At the same time, Long Fei didn't have the slightest hesitation. The idea moved and said, "Fusion? I like this abnormal thing. Ha ha ha." The huge elephant fused into Long Fei's body, and then checked the attributes of the Underworld Fire Touch. Touch of the Underworld Fire. Your damage ability allows you to deal 30 seconds of continuous damage. Damage, 10,000 points per second. Looking at the attribute of the Underworld Fire Touch, Long Fei was so excited he was about to be speechless. 30 seconds to deal 10,000 damage per second was equivalent to dealing 100,000 points worth of damage. Moreover, ignoring your defense, ignoring your medicine, this was F*King, defying the heavens. This was simply an explosion. Long Fei was in a bad mood. Could it be that he's too abnormal? A moment's carelessness could cause the opponent 100,000 points worth of damage. Isn't that a little bad? Long Fei became evil. Mighty elephant courage and touch of the underworld fire. Two great talents. Why did the system suddenly reward him with all this? Long Fei was not stupid. He immediately thought of what he had said about Gu Xiang Ancient and Elder Lai, who's submitting. Is this the reason for the reward? If that's the case, then Long Fei looked at Goblin Wolf Leader, who had been speaking sincerely. His heart jolted. He's gone. Also at this moment, the void shook, and a huge savage wolf broke through it. Beast transmogrification. Wolf King. His claws shone with a cold light. All of the hair on his body was like needles, reminding Long Fei that he was dozens of times stronger. He suddenly rushed out, looking extremely ferocious and shocking. Long Fei's heart trembled. The Wolf King furiously roared, "They surrender! Your father will not accept this. Kid, accept your death." It was as fast as lightning. Without giving Long Fei any time to react, his claws slashed down as though they were tearing through dry leaves. With unstoppable momentum, Gu Xiang Ancients and Elder Lai, whose expressions all darkened, the disciples of the monster wolf tribe, revealed excited expressions. This sneak attack was a success rate of 100%, and they had never failed before. Moreover, after being transformed into a monster wolf, their strength had increased by many times. This was a one-hit kill, not giving Long Fei any chance. Crap, he's dead for sure. The demon wolves are too sinister. Ha ha ha. That is the reason why we are weak. Your elders and our leaders are simply not on the same level. You are too weak. Ha ha ha. Humans tremble. The demonic wolf tribe became excited. When the Wolf King's claws slashed down, Long Fei stood there motionlessly. This time, he really did not want to move, because he didn't need to move now. Shwa. The claws were like the claws of a King Kong wolf. With a slash of the sharp blade, the void ruptured, landing on Long Fei's body. The Goblin Wolf Leader became excited. Die! He only saw. Long Fei smiled. The sharp claws descended, but Long Fei's body did not have the slightest injury. Even the claw marks didn't fall, much less Long Fei's life. At this moment, floating above his head, was a shield worth 1,000,000 points, but the damage dealt by the demonic wolf's attack just now was indeed not small. It had reached over 100,000 damage. Without the protection of the giant elephant, half of Long Fei's life would have been gone. But I'm a freak. A shield worth 1,000,000 points was already impressive, but not even half a strand of hair could be injured. Needless to say, the strength of the demon wolves couldn't be underestimated. Seeing that there were no injuries on Long Fei's body, the demon wolf was completely dumbfounded. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "What are you standing there for? Please continue." The surrounding people also had stupefied expressions. No one could stop this kind of sneak attack, but Long Fei was completely uninjured. Not even a single hair on his body was damaged. How shocking was that? Many people rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were seeing things. This. Is he a human or a ghost? Oh my God! Who the hell is he? He was stunned. Long Fei looked at Goblin Wolf Leader and laughed. Didn't you want me to die? What are you blanking out for? Please continue. Ah. The demon wolf finally reacted over and let out a shrill wolf howl. Its body soared into the sky and swooped down, and then it attacked Long Fei with all of its strength. Ah. Long Fei still stood there, unmoving. He did not place the demon wolves in his eyes at all. Rumble! Rumble! When the powerful attack landed, Long Fei was still the same, unharmed. The demon wolves were dumbfounded. His eyes went blank, and he began to doubt life. Long Fei laughed and said, "Come again, is that all you have?" Ah. The demon wolf fell into a crazed state as it madly attacked Long Fei. Just like an angry little woman, Long Fei stood in place without moving until the demon wolves made him want to cry. Then Long Fei coldly said, "I'm just asking you, are you convinced?" The demon wolf's body sunk. Its two eyes stared straight at Long Fei. Its breath was like fire, and it continued to let out whining sounds full of disdain and contempt, and said solemnly, "I refuse to accept this." "So what if your physical body is strong? I can't hurt you, and you can't hurt me at all?" Under the beast transmogrification situation, their defenses were heaven-defying. Even the power of law wouldn't be able to harm them. This was a body that had evolved for tens of thousands of years. It was an extremely strong defense. "Can't hurt you?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted. His fingers moved slightly as he touched the demon wolf. Chapter 2065. Lousy is a pervert. Chapter 2065. Lousy is a pervert. His body was very strong. Polar body? Heaven-defying defense. Not even slightly injured. Long Fei gently touched the demon wolf with his finger. Just like that. The demon wolf laughed loudly. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. What are you doing? Are you scratching me? No. Are you catching lice for me? That's not right. I really want to know, what are you doing? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The members of the demonic wolf tribe were all laughing. He simply did not understand what was the use of Long Fei's light finger attack. Everyone was looking at him. His movements were a little comical, which confused everyone. Was this an attack? This kind of attack can cause damage, let alone a wolf king. You wouldn't even be able to harm an ant. Is he joking? Is there something wrong with this human? Is this person brainless? Everyone was laughing at Long Fei. They didn't understand what he was doing from the start. Was there such an attack? Long Fei stood in place and laughed. "You won't be able to laugh anymore soon." The Goblin Wolf Leader disdainfully said, "I will keep laughing. Are all you humans attacking like this? I'm really going to die from laughter." Trigger the underworld fire. Long Fei's forehead turned sinister as soon as he finished. Buzz. In that moment, Goblin Wolf Leader's body suddenly sank. A bright red number, -10,000, floated above his head. A damage of 10,000 points floated up, not waiting for his reaction. Another 10,000 points of damage floated up. A few seconds. The demon wolf's expression changed. Poochie. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. This sudden change shocked everyone. The disciples of the monster wolf tribe didn't even have time to retract their smiles as they looked at their leader with twisted expressions. "Leader? Boss? What's going on?" Not waiting for them to finish, Poochie, another mouthful of blood spurted out. All of the power of the demon wolves had been used to defend, but he had no idea what to defend against at all. No matter how hard he tried to defend himself, the damage to his body was more than a second at a time. He was completely out of control and could not control it at all. His super fleshly body was completely useless. What's going on? What's going on? Why are you so heavily injured? He didn't do anything. Gu Xiang Ancient looked at the space between Long Fei's brows and said in shock, could it be just a light finger just now? Elder Lai Hu said, it can't be, I saw that move. Without even the slightest bit of power, there's no way it can cause any harm. Perhaps this is his strength. Gu Xiang Ancient looked at Long Fei, his heart filled with shock. Just now, he said that he had been forced to retreat due to the strong tiger, so he probably did not use a tenth of his strength. With such a gentle wave of his finger, if he could injure Goblin Wolf Leader to such an extent, then at this moment, Gu Xiang Ancient's heart started to tremble. They had always lived in Deep Abyss Mountain and had never stepped out of it for generations. They didn't know. They thought they were very strong, but Long Fei's power made him feel incomparable fear. Elder Lai, whose heart was also cold, he was deeply shocked by Long Fei's words. The heart of worship was born. Goblin Wolf Leader was still struggling, his body sunk even deeper, as though he was about to lose his balance. The disciples of the demonic wolf tribe kneeled on the ground in unison. Master, I beg of you, please let our leader go. I beg of you. Wolf tribe, they were extremely united. Seeing that their leader was heavily injured, they could do nothing but beg Long Fei. A single finger of strength was enough to severely injure a leader. What degree of injury would this be? Would he die? They had no idea. Long Fei looked at the demon wolf and asked, are you convinced? Goblin Wolf Leader did not say anything, but many of the Wolf Clan disciples immediately replied, yes, yes, we do. Goblin Wolf Leader's gaze tensed up, his teeth chattered loudly. Long Fei said again, seems like you don't agree, then you can continue. Goblin Wolf Leader's health point is 380,000. The injury from the underworld fire's touch would not kill him, but it would make him feel incomparable pain. Wolves are very patient among animals. Since he was unwilling, he might as well continue to endure the pain. The demon wolf stared at Long Fei and wished that it could tear Long Fei apart, but he did not have the chance. Gu Xiang Ancient said, Monster Wolf, what time is it? So what if I admit defeat? Lai, who also followed, our 3 tribes of strength added together is not his opponent. You are right, humans are our enemy, but after 10 million years, what has become of the human race? What have we become? You understand? Demon Wolf, give in. Even though the 3 tribes had always been fighting openly and secretly, they were all inheritors of the same ancestor, and they were all brothers to the bones. Watching the demon wolves suffer, they too felt pain. The demon wolf did not speak. Long Fei said, I do not know what happened tens of millions of years ago, but I know what will happen in the near future. I will open up the ancient entry and enter it. If you are willing, I will bring you all along and let you all obtain what you deserve, and the status that you get will also allow you all to leave the Deep Abyss Mountain and receive the glory that you deserve. I, Long Fei, will keep my promise. Gu Xiang Ancient was startled. Elder Lai, whose expression also changed. Ancient entry. Do you want to enter the pole realm? Open up the ancient entry and enter the battleground. Gu Xiang Ancient looked at the fierce tiger. Their eyes darkened. The ancient entry is indeed in the northern polar region. However, that place was truly a land of death. No one could enter it, and even more so, no one could leave it alive. Just as they were frowning, Goblin Wolf Leader, who was silent for a moment, asked, What did you say your name was? Long Fei replied, Long Fei. Goblin Wolf Leader looked at Gu Xiang and Lai Hu and asked, What did he say his name was? He was in pain. He was still enduring the pain of underworld fire touch, dealing 10,000 damage per second. However, Goblin Wolf Leader's face became excited. Gu Xiang replied, Long Fei, Goblin Wolf Leader said. Long Fei, don't you guys feel that this name is familiar? Long Fei, Liehu mumbled to himself. It seems like he heard it somewhere. Gu Xiang Ancient's eyes trembled, and suddenly said, I didn't hear it, but I saw. The three of them looked at each other, and said at the same time, the sacred tablet. Long Fei was confused. He did not understand what they meant. In that instant, Goblin Wolf leader immediately replied, I submit, not because of your defense, nor is it because of your attack, but because you're called Long Fei. Huh, Long Fei muttered. If you accept it, then you will have to endure a few more seconds of pain. So what if my name is Long Fei? Rob, to call Long Fei, do you still have an advantage? Long Fei was puzzled, but seeing their excited expressions, they guessed that something big had happened. Chapter 2066. Now, I'm going to eat you. Chapter 2066. Now, I'm going to eat you. Long Fei did not know what the sacred monument was. However, just as the Goblin Wolf leader was truly convinced and convinced by Long Fei, the system beeped once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Thunder Lord's decree, abnormal level. Do you wish to fuse it? Rob, I knew it. Every 3 tribes has a talent. The mammoth courage of the ancient elephant tribe, the underworld fire of the fierce tiger tribe, and the lightning of the demonic wolf tribe. The 3 great talents are all super talents. Long Fei could not wait and started to check the properties of the system. The Lightning Lord's decree allowed one to summon lightning strike after casting, dealing 8,000 points of damage each time for a minute. There was a chance for this to trigger an AoE thunder skill, 8,000 at a time, once every second. Moreover, he also had area-off effect skills. Is this really lightning? Are you sure you aren't carrying a lightning bolt with you? Long Fei quickly said, Fuse. The 3 great talents entered his body. The 3 great talents of the League of Heroes had now been enhanced by countless of abnormal powers and had fused into Long Fei's body, becoming the super abnormal beings of today. Long Fei only had one feeling. That was awesome. Fierce tiger, ancient elephant, and demonic wolf were whispering to each other. One of their words mentioned a place, Sacred Mountain. Finally, Gu Xiang Ancient looked at Long Fei and said, You won't leave, right? Huh. Long Fei asked, What do you mean? Elder Liehu said, So what you mean is that you won't be leaving Deep Abyss Mountain temporarily, right? We have some things to figure out, so can you leave later? Also, can you write down your name and give it to us? Poochie. Goblin Wolf leader wanted to say something, but before he could, he spat out another mouthful of blood. It was also at this time, took out a high-grade healing pellet, and said, Take it. It will help with your injuries. Goblin Wolf leader said, Thank you, my lord. Lord, can you stay here and not leave? The 3 of us will go confirm something and then come back to find you. Goblin Wolf leader was very careful with his words, and his eyes revealed reverence. Long Fei, if the name is not wrong, it really is the person who appeared on the sacred tablet. If that was the case, then all the tribes of Deep Abyss Mountain would listen to his orders. Long Fei scratched his head and said, For the time being, they should not be leaving. All right, then wait here for us. Finished. The Goblin Wolf leader was still a little worried and ordered demonic wolves, listen to my orders. Listen to Master Long Fei's instructions and don't allow anyone to touch him. Huh. The many Wolf Clan disciples shouted in unison. The same was true for the Ancient Elephant Tribe and the Broken Soul Tribe. Other than protecting Long Fei, they were also afraid that Long Fei would slip away secretly. The 3 of them cupped their fists at Long Fei, then took Long Fei's name that was carved on a stone with god power. I will go to the sacred mountain to look for the demon emperor. I'll go to the sacred monument to compare. I'll go inform the other tribes. This is a very serious matter. We must not be careless, especially when it comes to names. Understood. The three of them acted separately. Long Fei did not know what they were going to do, but from their expressions, it seemed like they were going to do something big and would call for help. I still want more super abnormal talents. Sacred Mountain? Monument? What is this place? Long Fei muttered to himself. All the people from three tribes stood quietly by the side, like Long Fei's imperial guards. At this moment, how preposterous! Chief, this man is too despicable. He actually destroyed our barrier of thorns. In this way, we of the Forefather Fox Valley will no longer have any advantage over others. The sky was dim, and the people from the fox race couldn't wait. There was a series of explosions outside the valley. They wanted to see what had happened. The fox race was out in full force, seeing the thorny barrier being broken through by a single line of flames. The fox disciples could not help but become furious. The foxes were not strong in the first place, so they relied on the thorny protective screen to establish themselves in the deep abyss mountain. Now that the protective screen was destroyed, their territory was under a strong threat. Naturally, he hated Long Fei. I don't think he's a good person. Bai Ling, the two of you have been tricked. Bai Ling, the two of you have been tricked. This kind of man should be soaked in a pig cage and cut into pieces. Don't get caught by me again. Otherwise, I'll be the first to eat him. Humph. Everyone was aggrieved and rushed to the entrance of the valley. It's him. He's not dead yet. Patriarch, the people from three tribes are still here. All right, this way we can protect ourselves. As long as the people of three tribes divide the spoils among us, we won't do anything to the people of the fox race. Maybe we can get a bit more. The twins saw Long Fei's back and immediately said, Master Long Fei, quickly run. They want to kill you. Long Fei was startled. He turned around and saw that all of the foxwoman S had rushed out and said with a smile, All of you are here? Humph. Brat, I won't let you escape this time. Die, brat. In that instant, several foxwoman S conjured layer upon layer of illusions. They were surrounded by their shadows, jumping nonstop, and it was impossible to see their movements. Clearly, they all rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei was startled, then smiled and said, Women shouldn't be so fierce. They should be gentle. Ancient Elephant Clan. Understood. Long Fei gave the order. Next, two Ancient Elephant Warrior-s walked out, and their feet sank as they stomped their feet at the same time. Boom, boom. A loud sound echoed out. Instantly, those foxwoman-s who were charging towards Long Fei began to sway unsteadily, and all their attacks collapsed in an instant. In that instant, a few more foxwomen flew over. Scorching Tiger Clan. Understood. Several Lion-Tiger Warrior-s rushed out, opened their mouths, and suddenly let out a fierce tiger's roar, as if their mouths were full of blood. Roar! Roar! Those foxwoman-s were all sent flying. They let out blood-curdling screams, unable to even take half a step closer. The wolf demon warrior stood in front of Long Fei, blocking his way as his gaze darkened. Revealing a savage gaze, he coldly said, Anyone who dares to take another step forward will lose her life. Wolves were different from humans. Their aesthetic standards were also different. The werewolves were brutal. This was the race that the fox race feared the most. Instantly, those beautiful fox race girls were stunned. They were also stunned. Didn't Long Fei come out to deal with the three tribes? Why did it become the three tribes' protection of Long Fei? Seeing the situation, the elderly patriarch's face changed. He immediately revealed a fawning smile and said, The Dragon King's temple has been flushed by the great water. The whole family does not know each other. It looked just like a bod. Long Fei laughed sinisterly and said, "Now you aren't eating me, right?" The chief immediately said, "You must be joking, my lord." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "Then it's my turn to eat all of you." "Ha ha! Thank you for your support." Chapter 2067, Fox Race. Chapter 2067, Fox Race. The Fox clan leader was able to see the wind with his bare hands. She saw that the situation was not right and changed it immediately. However, Long Fei was still not feeling well about her being caught. Some people have to. Most of the foxes had to pay the price. The old grandma walked forward with a charming, disgusting smile and said, "My lord, then I'll let you eat first." Long Fei's stomach churned. Not just him. The warrior of the monster wolf tribe also felt his stomach rolling, looking like he was about to vomit. Long Fei grinned. "Is anyone interested in her?" The people of 3 tribes all trembled and quickly retreated, afraid that Long Fei would call them "eat" the Fox clan chiefs. All of them revealed expressions that were even scarier than death. Long Fei said, "Seems like no one wants to eat you. How about this? Who just arrested my woman?" Long Fei asked, "I'll eat whoever catches them first." The old granny said, "I was the one who gave the order." At this moment, a few foxwomen stood out. Their faces were filled with anger and shouted, "We caught them. How about it? I don't care how you release the people of 3 tribes to help you, but we're not afraid of you." These 4 people were precisely the 4 who caught Long Fei. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Sure, you guys are very powerful." The leading lady said, "You want to eat us? Humph. That will depend on whether you have the ability to do so." "One-on-one." Long Fei laughed. "I'll pick the 4 of you." The 4 of them were stunned at the same time. They looked at each other and immediately said, "Come." Long Fei said, "Same rules as always, find a place to duel." The grandma's eyes turned cold as she immediately said, "Why don't we do it here?" "You, move aside." Long Fei shouted out and said in a low voice, "I have yet to settle the matter of capturing my woman with you." The 4 foxwomen said, "Then we'll wait for you in the ancient cave." Then, for beautiful voices traveled back and forth quickly and disappeared within the forest of thorns in the blink of an eye. Long Fei said, "3 tribes, listen up." "Yes, sir." The warrior of the 3 tribes shouted in unison, their voices shaking the sky. Matriarch's heart sank again, and she thought to herself, "The leader of the 3 tribes is not here. What exactly happened here? How did he manage to control the 3 tribes?" Inside the tree cave, the 4 of them stood in 4 different directions, and the instant Long Fei landed, the 4 of them attacked at the same time. "Capture me? Now it's my turn to catch you." When the 4 of them attacked, Long Fei's chi trembled. The power of the middle god realm exploded out, grabbing onto a woman in a split second, causing her to break free, directly against the wall. With a sudden move, a painful groan was emitted from the side of his face. 2 hours later. "Are you convinced?" Long Fei arrogantly looked at the 4 people who were sprawled out on the ground and ferociously roared. "This servant is convinced." The 4 of them were extremely obedient and submitted. They didn't have any expression of arrogance at all. They all had the appearance of a tamed little demoness, a little girl. Her face flushed. He had a look of enjoyment on his face. Completely conquered by Long Fei, he could not use any of his strength at all, and his whole body was numb. Furthermore, the manly aura that was being emitted from Long Fei's body made them intoxicated. Dragon chi, dragon chi, dragon. In certain areas, he was naturally unparalleled. Invincible. Release Big Sister. Long Fei immediately gave the order. The 4 immediately said, Yes, Long Fei said. From today onwards, you are now my Long Fei's women, and no one can bully you except me. Also, you are not servants, so you do not need to bow and kneel. As my woman, I will give you the whole world. With just a few words, the hearts of the four foxwomen melted. In their hearts, Long Fei was too powerful. Not long later, Big Sister let go of her head. When she saw Long Fei, she threw herself into Long Fei's embrace and choked with emotions. Idiot! Why did you come back? Long Fei lightly patted her back and said, You are my woman. I will not allow anyone to bully you. Big Sister was moved once again. She looked at the flushed faces of the four junior sisters beside her, and then looked at the chaotic scene around them. She immediately understood what had happened. The faces of the four women became even redder, as red as water. Big Sis said, What about the others? And there were also over 100 foxwomanesses. Of course, every one of them was stunning. Long Fei turned evil. Lay under them. Since foxwoman can settle it in one go, then sleeping clothes was the best way. It was also the most primitive, most crude, and simplest way. Big Sister was startled. Her small mouth pouted, revealing a feigned jealous expression. My honey, aren't you too greedy? Can your body take it? The foxwoman was different from humans. In the process of slapping, they would absorb the vital energy of a certain man. Anyone who interacted with them would be absorbed by them. This was something that they could not control. Big Sister, the reason why the four major disciples were subdued by Long Fei was also because they had absorbed the powerful essence of Long Fei's body, causing them to be unable to extricate themselves from it and become intoxicated within it. Otherwise, even if Long Fei was strong in a certain aspect, he wouldn't be able to subdue 4 people in one go. Long Fei laughed. You can say that I can't do anything else, but in this aspect, there is nothing that I can't do. Long Fei's physique was special because he is Long Fei, dragon. The demand in this area is also extremely strong. Big Sister laughed lightly. All right, my honey is mighty. My honey is domineering. My honey is the strongest. Hee. Bring the other sisters. A few minutes later, another large group of foxwomen entered the ancient cave. Long Fei once again began his slaughter of the world. Just like at the beginning, the moment these foxwomen were touched by Long Fei, their bodies would immediately soften. Half a day passed. In the entire fox race, only the clan leader and grandma were being held captive in the thorny forest, unable to leave or enter. She had no idea what was going on. He was stupefied. Over 100 foxwomen were forced to sleep by Long Fei, and for some reason, the profound yang in his body did not decrease. Instead, it increased, and he felt his body become hotter and hotter. This heat came from the dragon-shaped mark on his arm. It was as though something had been activated. Pain? Excited? Long Fei himself was not clear about this and thought to himself, could it be a side effect caused by excessive lust? *CK. Could it be that I can't use it anymore? But I don't feel that my aspect is bad, and I've already taken more than 100 of them. I am more agile, and I don't feel any discomfort. So how could I not be able to do it? What the hell is going on? Just as Long Fei was panicking, his arms suddenly caught on fire. Chapter 2068, Embarrassment. Chapter 2068, Embarrassment too wild, or was it for what reason? Long Fei was unable to control the heat in his body, as if his body was about to explode. Just when he couldn't figure out the reason, his arms suddenly burned. Boom! The entire cave erupted in flames. The beam of fire soared into the sky and shot out from the gap in the tree hole. It was as if a dazzling light had exploded in midair. The entire Deep Abyss Mountain let out a loud roar. just like the roar of a gigantic demon beast. The deep abyss mountain trembled. All the demon beast and large tribes within the mountain were crushed. Even the deep abyss mountains, sacred mountains, started to tremble. In that instant, at the top of the sacred mountain, Guxiang, ancient, knelt on the ground. Seeing the strong light that burst out from the direction of the origin Fox Valley, his heart sank and immediately said, "King Demon, your prediction has been fulfilled." Roar! The air above the mountain peak moved, and a black hole appeared. A man whose entire body was suffused with a golden glow walked out of the hole. The man's aura was exceptionally chilly, and his aura spread out. In less than a moment, all of the demon beast in Deep Abyss Mountain kneeled down, and did not dare to move even an inch. The demon emperor had come out of seclusion. 10,000 beasts kneel. The entire Deep Abyss Mountain trembled violently once more. At this moment, roar! A demon beast roar came out. Following that, all the demon beast in Deep Abyss Mountain kneeled on the ground and roared, welcoming the spirit demon emperor, who was out. Demon emperor, king of demons, the entire primordial divine warplane, and even he was probably the only spirit demon emperor among the 100,000 planes controlled by the main temple. Many strong demon beasts had painstakingly cultivated to human form. They had forgotten their original appearances and had always been training according to the standards of a human, treating themselves more and more like humans. To reproduce with humans, slowly transmogrify. It had lost the original power of the demon beast and its special physique. However, it's different here. This was the Deep Abyss Mountain, of forbidden grounds for humans. The demon beast tribe had been rooted here ever since their ancestors had been driven here. Training hard, they had to bear the devastation of the polar storm and the extremely difficult natural environment of the extreme Earth, plus the hatred between them and the humans. Their cultivation had never left their very nature and had always made breakthroughs in their own demon beast millions of demon beast, billions of demon beast, had cultivated to become a demon emperor. This was the most terrifying and strongest person in the Deep Abyss Mountain. The eyes of the demon emperor were ice cold and expressionless. He raised his eyes slightly, looking at the light that was gradually disappearing from the origin Fox Valley, and said calmly, "Go to the sacred monument first." Guxiang Ancient immediately replied, "Yes, sir." When he raised his head, the demon emperor was no longer where he was and had instantly disappeared. His speed was beyond his imagination. The Guxiang Ancient said excitedly, "The strength of King Demon has increased by a step. The demon race of our Deep Abyss Mountain is about to rise again." Inside the ancient cave, Long Fei's right arm was burning, but he couldn't feel any pain. These flames were burning the scorching energy in his body. "My honey! Milord! Sir, your hand!" Many of the fox woman had bitter expressions. Seeing Long Fei's arm on fire and how worried they were, many of them started to scream. Big Sister wanted to step forward. Long Fei immediately shouted, "Don't come near me." This was dragon fire. It could also be said that this wasn't dragon fire. It didn't matter to him. But as long as others came across a little bit of it, they would definitely be instantly burnt to ashes. Last time, Long Fei used dragon fire to clean up the poison in his body. However, he forced the power of the dragon-shaped mark out by himself. This time it burned itself. Moreover, the dragon fire on his arm was also different from the dragon fire from before. This draconic fire was even more powerful. During the process of combustion, Long Fei's arm seemed to be moved by some kind of heavy force. That kind of ancient world's power was growing in his body, and it seemed like he could feel it, but at the same time, it also seemed like he couldn't. Dragon-shaped mark did not appear in the chaos realm, but he had no idea how they appeared when he first entered the Devil Island. What did this dragon-shaped mark represent? Long Fei did not know either. He only knew that there was some kind of enormous power hidden within its body. If he could completely unleash this kind of power, not to mention the main temple, even the sovereign real face would be easily killed in front of him. Now that it was suddenly ignited, Long Fei did not resist and let it burn. The flames gradually decreased. Long Fei listened carefully, but the system beep did not ring. In other words, the dragon-shaped mark did not change at all. No power? Long Fei was a little depressed in his heart. My arms are already roasted, and I haven't even gotten a fart? Or could it be? Is the dragon-shaped mark not under the control of the system at all? Damn! The flames were extinguished. Long Fei's arm returned back to normal, but the dragon-shaped mark on his arm became even more ferocious, especially that dragon head. At the same time, the dragon-shaped mark had also grown a little, shining with a black light. With a flash of black light, the dragon-shaped mark also completely sunk down without any changes. Long Fei moved. He wanted to feel the change in the dragon-shaped mark, but he didn't feel any change. Looking at the system, there was still no change. How strange! Long Fei muttered, "Why do I feel power growing while I'm burning, but I don't feel anything right now? Or could it be that the activated power is hidden within the dragon-shaped mark? F***CK. Just what is it? I wonder if the colossal dragon knows about it." Long Fei moved his body and entered the dragon coffin. "Hey, giant dragon, what happened to the dragon-shaped mark on my arm that was suddenly ignited? I thought I was going to be burned to death." The colossal dragon raised his eyes and said carelessly, "You will know about it in the future. Don't disturb my sleep if there's nothing else." Finished. Without waiting for Long Fei to leave his dragon coffin cultivation mode, he was immediately blown away by the huge dragon. After Long Fei left the room, the huge dragon suddenly soared into the air, rolling around before finally rolling on the ground, grinning from ear to ear. Ha 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 ha. It has been activated. It's activated. The ancient world is starting to wake up. Ha ha. He looked just like a 250 idiot. However, just when the huge dragon was happy like a fool, Long Fei's idea came in again and scolded, "If you don't say it, then don't say it. If you send this daddy out, do you believe I won't beat you to death?" Before he could finish his words, he saw the gigantic dragon rolling around the entire world. The entire world of Dragon Coffin was trembling as if it was about to collapse. The gigantic dragon did not expect Long Fei's idea to once again enter the dragon coffin. His expression was startled, his entire body covered in mud, his appearance a little funny, so awkward. Chapter 2069, Ancient Inheritance. Chapter 2069, Ancient Inheritance, so awkward. The lofty, overweeningly arrogant, and domineering dragon coffin, divine guardian dragon, actually became like a child playing with mud, rolling on the ground. He was just like a retard, was seen by Long Fei over and over again. The situation instantly became extremely awkward. The colossal dragon was stunned for half a minute. Then it turned its body, revealing its majestic body. Coughing, it asked, "What did you see?" Long Fei shrugged and said, "I promise you, I didn't see anything. Other than rolling around in the mud and laughing along with an idiot, I didn't see anything else." Poochie. Long Fei couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. "Ha ha, ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to be like this. Ha ha." The dragon's face turned green. He opened his eyes wide and spouted flames from his nose. Long Fei held back his laughter and said, All right, I won't laugh anymore, but you have to tell me what is the power of the ancient world, and what is the dragon-shaped mark on my body? He saw it. Naturally, he heard what the colossal dragon said. The giant's eyes darkened again as it said, "You want to know?" Longfei nodded. "Yes." The colossal dragon replied, "If I don't tell you, then I won't tell you. What about it?" Longfei. The colossal dragon roared, "I made you laugh. I made you laugh. If you laugh again, do you want to know the power of ancient world? Do you want to know what the dragon-shaped mark is?" "I won't tell you. I won't tell you." Anger was written all over his face. If Long Fei wasn't the owner of the dragon coffin, he would have instantly made Long Fei disappear from this world. Long Fei said, "You won't tell me?" "What you did just now, I'll find a few masters who can tell stories under the sky bridge, or someone who can write novels and have them create 17 or 18 episodes, and even split them into 3 episodes. Every day, they'll talk about how you rolled around on the ground, how you smiled like a retard. I can't do anything about it. That's all I can do. Find a crew and tour around. That's all." Long Fei laughed evilly like a hooligan. Spread the news among the humans might not bring about any consequences, but who can guarantee that the people of the dragon race won't find out? Who can guarantee if it will spread to the universal large world or not? Lord Giant Dragon, don't you think so? The colossal dragon was stupefied. Playing hooligan with Long Fei, even 10 wouldn't be enough. It was just as Long Fei had said. If the people from the dragon race knew that he was behaving in such a way, then they would really lose a lot of face. Zhang Xian's face darkened. The colossal dragon said, "Let me tell you, you won't spread what you saw just now, right?" Long Fei laughed. "Of course, Long Fei, will keep my promise." Dragon hesitated for a moment. "You can't know about these things." "Since you want to know so much, I'll tell you about it. The power of the ancient world is extraordinary. The inheritance is also different. The Dragon Manor is one of the great clans in the ancient world. Although it is not a big power, it is definitely one of the superpowers, coupled with the strong physique and power of the dragon race. It has allowed the dragon race to continue existing in the ancient world for millions of years, but they have yet to receive any special power from the ancient world, which is also the ancient inheritance. When a crisis strikes in the Dragon Manor, the combination of your father and mother would only be able to produce you. When you were born with an abnormal sign. The ancient inheritance entered your body. Also, follow the dragon mark into your body. When you continuously break through, it will slowly open and awaken the power of the ancient inheritance. The burning of the dragon fire just now was a sign, which means that the ancient inheritance has begun to awaken. At the moment, you cannot feel this kind of power, nor can you control it. Only when you are strong enough to enter the universal world will you slowly sense it. Although the colossal dragon was unwilling, he spoke very seriously. Long Fei asked, "Is the ancient inheritance very strong?" The colossal dragon's eyes widened. "Of course, it's very strong. It's not just strong. It's the reason for the crisis in the Dragon Manor." At this point, the colossal dragon suddenly stopped. No more. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he muttered to himself, "The ancient inheritance is the reason behind the crisis that Long Fei is facing. Is Long Fei's crisis happening because of me? What's the ancient inheritance on me?" The colossal dragon shook his head. "I really don't know about that. Even if I do know, I can't tell you. The world is born. They are all born from the ancient world. The chaos in the world, the ancient power, these inheritances, and their powers could be a brand new power, a power capable of destroying the world." All right, I've said what I should, I've said what I shouldn't. Now, the huge dragon looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, Don't worry, I forgot everything, of course. Sometimes it might ring like giant dragon blood. The colossal dragon glared at him and said angrily, That won't do. You promised me that you would break through all the training tasks. Long Fei grinned at the huge dragon's toughness. He could not force it too hard. He did not need the power of the gobbledygook to do so now, and said, I was just joking. The dragon had a lot of information. According to him, the ancient world was the first world born from heaven and earth, and it could even nurture ancient inheritance. As for the power in his body, perhaps it could improve the world, or maybe destroy the world. These words of his were the source of the crisis in the long residence. Everything revolved around him, including the tribulation that occurred only once every 3,330,000 years. Long Fei thought that he understood the dragon race. From the looks of it, nothing was as simple as that. The hidden secrets, the crisis in the Dragon Manor, the situation in the Mu clan, the whereabouts of his mother, everything could only be solved after he entered the universal large world. Humph! Long Fei took a deep breath, retracting the idea and waking up. He thought to himself, to become strong, one still need to become stronger crazily. At this time, Big Sister walked to Long Fei's side and asked, Hubby, are you all right? Long Fei's right arm returned to normal as the dragon-shaped mark calmed down and said, I'm fine. At the sacred monument, Goblin Wolf Leader took out the stone tablet that Long Fei had written his name on and compared it to the words on the tablet. King Demon, exactly the same. He should be. Without waiting for Goblin Wolf Leader to finish speaking, the Demon Emperor raised his eyes and coldly replied, I can't be sure yet. Inform the other monstrous tribes. Let down the beasts Eriba at the holy mountain. Finished. The Demon Emperor disappeared. Goblin Wolf Leader's body trembled faintly. His mouth was dry as he said, Beasts Eriba, could it be? The Demon Emperor is going to personally take action? Chapter 2070, Invitation to a Big Boss. Chapter 2070, Invitation to a Big Boss. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. On top of Demon Saint Mountain, the battle drum sounded out, and a deafening explosion resounded throughout the entire Deep Abyss Mountain. Then, Beast's tribes began to step forward. At the entrance of Origin Fox Valley, the old Granny Fox race's expression turned cold. Thousand Goblin Drum? The Demon Emperor has come out of seclusion. Beasts Eriba? What happened? Her expression changed drastically. At this time, when she saw Long Fei bringing a group of foxwomen out of the Origin Fox Valley, her expression changed yet again. The women's faces were flushed. His body turned limp. He was walking lightly with a limp. Clearly, the guarding sand on their arms should have disappeared, as they had already been subdued by Long Fei. The grandma's heart skipped a beat. She understood the foxwoman more than anyone. Every single one of them were fox spirits, and each of them was a peerless beauty who could absorb a man's yang energy. As long as it was the Huan of fish and water, it would be unable to control its absorption. If not for that man being able to endure the absorption powers of the 10 foxwomaness, even with his exceptional talent and strong physique, the 100 foxwoman-s would not be able to withstand him. What kind of person was Long Fei exactly? How fierce was it for such a woman to be captured? Thinking back to back then, she had sucked up all of her beloved man with a single suck. At that time, she had been in endless pain. How could the gap between them be so great? In here, these women's eyes were completely filled with love. They were completely captivated by Long Fei. Now, she was already in the air, and Long Fei was now the Fox Clan leader. The grandma's heart sank as she asked, What happened? Long Fei grinned and said, I slept in their clothes. The grandma's eyes turned sinister. Long Fei did not care about her expression. After all, he did not want to sleep with her. What's the situation with the battle drum? Is he going to start a war? Elder sister shook her head. I've never heard this kind of drum sound before, but it seems to come from the direction of the holy mountain. An old man from the ancient elephant clan walked up and said, Master, this is the demon battle drum. The sound of this drum is summoning the beast's tribes. Something big has happened. That's right, the demon emperor might have come out of seclusion. An old man from the fierce tiger race added. Long Fei muttered, Beast tribes? Demon emperor? At this moment, Goblin Wolf leader descended. Her breathing was ragged, and she was in a hurry. She walked to Long Fei's side and said, Master, King Demon has a request. As soon as he finished, the fox old lady's expression changed. She was shocked to the point that the Goblin Wolf leader was extremely respectful to Long Fei. Even the demon emperor was alarmed. What was his background? Long Fei asked, What do you want me to do? Goblin Wolf leader said, Master, you will know when we get there. Long Fei smiled and said, Can you not go? Goblin Wolf leader was startled, then shook his head. You must go. Long Fei laughed. What if I don't go? Goblin Wolf leader's expression changed, and he said, Sir, you have to go, or else. His gaze looked towards the fox tribe behind Long Fei. Big Sis immediately stepped forward. Hubby, you don't need to worry about us. Yes, don't worry about us. We're not afraid of anything. Hubby, do what you want. All of them were for Long Fei's sake. Long Fei was extremely moved. Looking at the Goblin Wolf leader, he gave a bland smile and said, I was just joking. Since this is an invitation from King Demon, I must definitely go. What if? Is it a big boss? Goblin Wolf leader was startled and asked, What is a big boss? Long Fei smiled and said, Even if it's a super powerhouse, to be able to meet with such a powerhouse is also an honor. Demon Emperor? I've never seen it. The ruler of the Deep Abyss Mountain was naturally a super big boss. How could they miss such a big boss? How could they not invite a boss? Long Fei was starting to look forward to it. Goblin Wolf leader said, Rest assured, it will definitely benefit you. You are the first human to let the Demon Emperor out of seclusion, and the first human to let the 1,000 goblins war drum ring, so you might be the only human in the world. Finished. Goblin Wolf leader slightly bent his body. Like a servant, he moved his hand and said, Master, please. Long Fei took a step forward. The fox race followed him. Long Fei brought a large group of girls and headed towards the Deep Abyss Mountain's sacred mountain. At the same time, in another place, I can feel it. The sound of the drum comes from a golden mountain. This mountain is a bit special. It should be the holy mountain they were talking about. With a flash, the figure returned to its original position. Then the boss must be there. Li Yuanba laughed simple-mindedly. Boss likes to cause trouble. Just now, there was a powerful ray of light that shot into the sky. And now that the demon drum has vibrated too, I'm sure boss is on that mountain. Ziyu impatiently said, Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up and go over. The group of 5, who had been searching for Long Fei for the whole day, did not have a clue. Finding someone in such a vast Deep Abyss Mountain was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Hanba said, This is the Deep Abyss Mountain. The drum sound just now. If my guess is not wrong, it should be the 1,000 goblins' great drum. The drum sound that summoned the beast tribes. If Long Fei is really on the sacred mountain, I'm afraid that right now. Li Yuanba was instantly enraged and shouted, Who the hell touched half a hair on my boss head? I'll kill his entire family. As soon as he finished, Li Yuanba carried the giant spirit coffin on his back, held it in his hand, and quickly rushed towards the holy mountain. The remaining 4 people also quickly headed towards the sacred mountain. A 1,000-monster mountain. 18 huge demon drums were still rumbling in the sky. At the top of the sacred mountain, it was a huge square. A beast's eriba was placed in the center of the plaza. The magical symbols of the demon clan were engraved in the surroundings, and along with the sound of the demon drum, these magical symbols began to flicker with a fluorescent light, which then illuminated the sky, just like a beam of light rising from the ground. On the holy seat in the sky, the demon emperor gently supported his head with one hand and secretly locked the space between his brows. No one knew what he was thinking. Those who entered the sacred mountain all came out to kneel down. No one dared to look the demon emperor in the eye, because he was the demon emperor, the supreme existence. The Gu Xiang ancient whispered, "Is he really the person in the prophecy?" Elder Lai Hu shook his head and said, "I can't be sure right now, but this is the first time in tens of thousands of years that a human with the name Long Fei has appeared in the Deep Abyss Mountain. The one we're waiting for." Gu Xiang Ancient asked, "Can he bring us out of Deep Abyss Mountain?" However, Gu Xiang Ancient lowered his voice and said, "It seems that the Demon Emperor is a little unhappy. If the Demon Emperor were to take action, he definitely wouldn't be able to hold on." You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.